Hello and welcome to those of you who are watching this video live. Welcome to those of you who are watching on demand. And welcome back to another special weekend live edition of Maddie's Rap with your favorite author and storyteller, Matt D. Talford. How are you guys doing tonight? It looks like we've got three in the chat room already. Well, now down to one. Hey, what's up, Hotshot? How you doing there tonight? How you doing? So let me do this. Let me get a couple more people in here. And let me get my notes going here, y'all. Give me 1 second because I got a special presentation for you guys tonight. Hey, what's up there? I'm all me. Jean or Jean Negril. Hello there. Not sure if that's Jean or Jean. But okay, either or, I guess. Allie Rule, what's up, Allie? What's up? Nice to see you there. All right, thank you for being here tonight. You guys are waiting on me, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Um, Listen, I'm a little bit shocked because normally I'm used to singing for about 3 or 4 minutes before we get started, but you guys are ready to get this party started, and I'm ready to get it started with you. Okay, the sooner we start, the sooner we finish. But those of you who have been watching me long enough, you know that I know better than to say how long I think the video is going to be. So, anyway, welcome to those of you that are watching this video on demand. My name is author and storyteller Matt D. Talbot, and she's saying sing. She's saying sing. She's trying to put me on the spot. Song. She's doing it in all caps. Oh, she's saying please. Okay. All right. So let me see. Is there something that's fitting for what I want to do tonight? Is there something that's fitting for what I want to do tonight? You know what? There isn't, but I like to stay. I'm gonna start off with a high vibe song. And I actually recorded this in my car probably about a month ago with the intention of uploading it to not YouTube, TikTok. And I never did it. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of bars of Luther Vandross's. There was this little challenge going around called the So Amazing Challenge. So I'm going to give you guys a few bars of that and then we'll get started, okay? Let me clear the throat. I got a little bit of peppermint tea here, just sipping a little peppermint tea with honey. Give y'all a couple of bars and then we're going to get started. But let me get my notes open first. Let me get my notes open so we can jump right in because y'all, listen, this one is hot, y'all. This one is hot. If y'all have never seen an episode of Maddie's Rap live before, this is the one you want to watch, okay? This is fresh out of the ether, okay? When you know, you know. This one's fresh out of the ether. Actually, I got this one probably 3 days ago. I was really excited 3 days ago about doing this one live this weekend. But I got some fresh information out of the ether this morning. So I was up at about 4:45, 5 o'clock taking notes. Okay. And I was taking notes for about an hour. So, you know, when the room's dark and you just got the light of your tablet and you're not paying attention to the time, you don't know what time it is. So let me give you guys a couple of bars and we're going to get started. All right. All right. Love has truly been good to me. Not even one sad day or minute have I had since you've come my way. I hope you know I'd gladly go. Anywhere you take me, it's so amazing to be loved. I'd follow you to the moon in the sky above. And I go. All right. It's not a full song, but I just wanted to just warm up the vocal cords. I'm gonna hit y'all off with something the next time we do a live. I got it curated. Because honestly, thank you, Hotshot. Thank you so much. Thank you. Honestly, I was kind of in a DMX mood today. For those of you that follow me on my Instagram channel, y'all saw I dropped a little track of DMX behind a little reel I created celebrating my first men's doubles flex league victory of the year. So it was a come from behind victory. And I was feeling myself a little bit. So I threw a little bit of DMX on. And that was the mood I was in. But I was like, they ain't really trying to hear no Rough Riders anthem out there tonight. So she said, woof, woof. All right. So let me stop tripping, y'all. We're about 5 minutes in. Let me get started with tonight's topic. How your birth chart reveals. Well, let me read my title I got up here because this is a working title over here. Your birth chart reveals the most difficult challenge you will face in life and how to overcome it. and how to overcome it. Okay. Now, my working title was Your Birth Chart Reveals Where the Devil is going to Show Up in Your Life and How to Defeat Him. So that applies too. Take whichever one fits better for you, whichever one looks better on you, and run with it. Okay. Because y'all know we're in the North Node is in Aries. So this is war season. So you have got to use that energy to defeat the enemies in your life. And I can see here that I'm probably stalling in the video because here we go with this little indicator showing me that my connection is getting a little funny. But y'all stay with me, okay? Let me turn my I am in my home office today. Well, my bandwidth's a little bit slower. I'm going to be upgrading it here to fiber. I didn't want to be in the office tonight. I just wanted to come home so I could be done. But anyway, I'm gonna let this Wi-Fi little indicator fill back up. Give me a second, y'all. I'm gonna sip my tea and watch it because here they go, right? Let me see. I may need to switch up networks here. Give me 1 second. I see what's happening. Oh, come on, network. Don't start playing with me. Do not start playing with me tonight. Do not play me, network. Come on. Y'all hang on. Stand by, y'all. Stand by. This is what happens. This is what happens when you about to drop a high vibe topic. Y'all stand by, okay? Okay, looks like I'll be coming back in here in just a moment. It should be the bandwidth should be coming back up, and it is slowly coming back up. So I think I'm going to be okay here. There we go. Okay, we're back, y'all. We're back. Y'all know what happens. Y'all know what happens. This happens when you're about to drop a high vibe topic. Okay, so let me get on. Let me get in on this. All right. Now, keep in mind for those of you who saw my community post today, I'm going to get through these notes, and at the end, I'm going to take up to 4 volunteers who want to tell me what your placement is when we get here. I don't want to give it away at the front of the video, but I'm going to take about 4 individuals through the just let me know in the chat by the time we get to that point what you or if you want me to identify where that challenge area is for you and give you some advice on how to get through it. Okay, so now let's get started here. It's really simple. If you have ever run your birth chart through a birth chart calculator and you know your placements, the area where you are going to see your biggest challenge in life is your Saturn. Okay, it is going to be your Saturn placement, whatever that Saturn placement is, and in particular, the house. Okay, remember the planet or the sign is the energy. The house is the area of life. Okay, the house is the area of life. What is a house in real life? A house is where you live. Okay, you got 12 houses in your zodiac, and each of them has a each of them has a specific purpose. Okay, or a specific area of life that is controlled by the energy of that house. Okay. And the energy is the sign. The energy is the sign. The house is the area of focus or the area of life. So now, let's see. Your Saturn house. It is the biggest area of life where you're going to have, or it is the area of life where you're going to have your biggest struggles. Okay. So the area of life where you're going to have your biggest struggles. Your biggest struggles also equate to your biggest tests. All right. It's your biggest test. So I want to begin by asking you all a question, and you can answer this in the topic or in the chat here. Is Saturn a fast moving planet or energy? Sometimes I call them planets, sometimes I call them energies. I prefer energy than over planet, but whatever works for you. Question: is Saturn a fast moving or a slow moving planet / energy? Somebody put that in the chat. I'll wait. I'll give you guys about maybe 30 seconds because I know sometimes they are delayed. Somebody pop in there. Is Saturn a fast moving or a slow moving planet / energy? Fast. Wrong. Wrong. It's not fast. It's not fast. Let me bring something up here on the screen for you guys because y'all know how I like to do it. It is not fast. It is actually slow moving. Let me bring up some information for you that you are going to want to see. So give me 1 second here. Y'all know I love diagrams. I love showing you guys things on the screen here. Let's see. Thank you all for being here tonight. I really appreciate you guys. Hopefully this information will help you and you can pass this information along to somebody else so we all grow together. Let's see. All right. Let's bring this up on the screen for you guys. All right. This is just a random one that I pulled up on DuckDuckGo. How long do the planets stay in a zodiac sign? The moon, of course, is the fastest moving. It moves every 2.5 days. Okay. The sun, if you want to call it a planet, actually moves every day. But the sun sign changes. We know the sun sign changes every month. But anyway, Saturn stays in a sign for 2.5 years. It takes 2.5 years for Saturn to change a sign, and it takes 29 to 30 years for it to complete one full cycle. Okay. So that means that Saturn is not a fast moving energy, it is slow. So, why did you ask that question, Matthew? It means that because Saturn is a slow moving energy, you're going to be in that energy for a while. You're going to be in that energy for a while. Now, let me keep going here. Saturn is going to Mama Saturn, and I call this Mama Saturn. You know, for those of you who follow astrology a little bit, some people tend to call Saturn the daddy of the zodiac. You hear people say daddy Saturn all the time. I actually like to see it the other way. I choose to look at it as Mama Saturn, and here's why. When you look at these two energies in the nighttime sky and you understand these energies in the zodiac and how they affect our lives, you got Jupiter and Saturn. Jupiter is a much bigger energy than Saturn. We know that. It is expansive, it is powerful. Jupiter, when you look in the nighttime sky, Jupiter is extremely bright. Saturn is kind of dim. You can see it, but it's kind of dim. Okay. And here's my bandwidth tripping again, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm going to keep pushing through it. I think when the bandwidth starts tripping, it just means that you guys can't see me, but you can still hear me. So I'm gonna push through this. I'm gonna ignore it and keep going. You guys, please bear with me, okay? Now let's see. Hopefully, you guys can hear me. You know what? Do something for me, guys, so that I don't have to backtrack. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you can still hear me. Give me a thumbs up. I'm sure you guys probably don't see me because when I go back and look at these replays, I can tell when the bandwidth is tripping. Oh, you said you see me. Okay, good, hotshot. Okay, so it's still live. Sometimes this thing starts tripping and stuttering, and okay, good. You guys can still see me and hear me. Good. Okay, now, Mama Saturn. Why do I call it Mama Saturn? Real simple. When you talk about two-parent households, typically speaking, the daddy is bigger than the mama. Okay, I'm not saying daddy's energy is bigger because sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes daddy is subdued, but daddy size-wise tends to be bigger. Now, in addition to that, daddy is the one all the children tend to, hey, daddy, can I have a blah, blah, blah? And your daddy typically is going to be like either yes or go ask your mama, right? So daddy is all about hitting you off. When you look at Jupiter and your Jupiter placement in your chart, Jupiter is your planet of abundance. It is your sign of abundance. When you look at your Jupiter sign and the house, it tells you the area of life you're going to get your biggest blessings, and it's telling you the energy that you need to be in order to get those blessings. I'll volunteer mine. For example, I'm not going to give you guys my whole chart, but my Jupiter is in Capricorn in the third house. Okay. My sun is in Capricorn in the third house. So what does that mean? That means I'm going to get my biggest rewards in life by simply being myself. Okay. Capricorn is a sign of hard work. It's a sign of order. It's the sign of structure. And it is a sign of just problem solving, just getting through, getting over, climbing over obstacles, climbing to the top. That's Capricorn energy. The third house is the area of learning and is the area of communication. So that's your Jupiter. But when you contrast that with Saturn, when you look at home life, what does your mama say? What did daddy say? If daddy says go ask your mama, what's your mama typically gonna say? She's typically gonna give you a task that you have to do before you can get that thing that you're asking for. Mama, can I go out and play? Did you clean your room up? No. Well, go clean your room up, and then I'm gonna come and check your room to see if it's clean to my standard. And then, if your room is clean to my standard, then you can go out and play. That is Saturn energy all day. So this is why I like to say Mama Saturn. I don't think Saturn is masculine energy. I think Saturn is feminine energy. They try to say it's masculine energy. I prefer to see Saturn as feminine energy. Why? Because Saturn is going to restrict you until you've done your chores. It's the same way in our birth chart. Okay. Now, but keep in mind, Saturn is the area where you're going to see your biggest challenges. Why? Saturn is the ruler of karma. It is the Lord of karma and it is the Lord of time. So, the reason why I brought up Saturn and asked you if Saturn was a fast or slow moving energy, you're not going to do anything quick with Saturn. All right. You're going to have to prove yourself with Saturn and it's going to take time. So, Saturn is going to be the area of your birth chart where you're going to see your biggest challenges. Now, watch this. Okay. Um, Now, if Saturn is the energy of your biggest challenges, it is, and y'all thumbs up if y'all can still hear me because my bandwidth thing is still showing low for some reason. But anyway, if Saturn is the area where you're going to get your biggest challenges, guess what? Guess what? If Saturn wants to slow you down, guess what? If Saturn is where you have your karmic lessons, guess what? That is considered to be, by some accounts, thank you, Gene. By some accounts, that's considered to be a weakness. Well, guess what? The enemy knows your weakness just as well as the Most High does. And he's going to look to attack you at your weakness. All right. I was in the military. I was a medic attached to the infantry. Most people, when they're battle planning, they're not going to attack an enemy at his strong point. They're going to look for that weakness and attack that. Your weakness is typically indicated by your Saturn. You don't typically hear astrologers or astrologists tell you that. They don't talk about that. They'll show you where your strengths are in your birth chart, but you don't hear a lot of people talk about your weaknesses. Your Saturn is where you need to get stronger. Okay? So Saturn restricts, Jupiter blesses, Jupiter gives, Saturn holds back until you've proven yourself. Okay? So, now Mama Saturn is going to take her time and make sure that you've learned your lesson. So, before I move forward, we go back. Your biggest struggles are your biggest tests, and your area of your birth chart that reveals where you're going to face your biggest challenge is the house that your Saturn is in. Okay, it's the house that your Saturn's in. So, I'm going to go through the houses in just a minute. Now, the reason why I asked you if Saturn was a fast moving energy or a slow moving energy, it's real simple. If it is slow moving and it's going to be difficult, let me backtrack for just a moment. Saturn is the ruler of the sign of Capricorn. Now, it also rules over what is it? Aquarius as well. So Aquarius has two planetary rulers, Saturn and Uranus. But I tend to like to look at Capricorn when it comes to Saturn more so than Aquarius, and I'm gonna tell you why. And then I'm gonna move forward. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus first. I like to call the planets that, or the signs that have two rulers, I like to say one of them is primary and one of them is secondary. So in other words, in that primary, this is the main energy of that sign. Okay. The secondary energy is, I like to say that this is how they're going to do it. This is how they're going to do it. Now, you take, for example, you got two signs that have two planetary rulers. Okay. They are, well, you got four. But they're paired in twos. You got, for Mars. Mars rules over the signs of let me back up. Two signs that have two planetary rulers. You got two. Aquarius and Scorpio. Let's talk about those two for just a moment. Aquarius has two planetary rulers. Well, let's do Scorpio first because I'm going to end up at Capricorn. I'm setting up the backdrop, y'all. I promise you I'm going to get into the meat in just a moment, but I got to set the table before we can sit down and eat. Okay. Now, when you look at Scorpio, Scorpio has two planetary rulers, Pluto and Mars. Okay. Pluto is the energy of transformation. It is the energy of death and rebirth. Mars is the energy of war. It is the energy of conflict. It is the energy of action. Okay. Mars not only rules over Scorpio, it also rules over Aries. But the difference is Scorpio has two planetary rulers, Pluto and Mars. Aries only has the one, which is Mars. So Aries' primary energy is its only energy. Aries' primary ruler is its only ruler. That is Mars. But when you look at Scorpio, Scorpio's got what I like to call a primary and a secondary. That primary is the Pluto. It's the Pluto. Okay. Pluto is the planet of transformation. It is the planet of transmutation. Pluto destroys and then rebuilds. So that primary energy is what that sign does. That primary ruler, I should say, is what that sign does. That secondary ruler is how they do it. So with Scorpio, Scorpio's primary ruler is Pluto. Pluto destroys and rebuilds. How it does it with Scorpio is that Mars energy. So Mars uses the energy. Its primary purpose. I'm sorry, Scorpio's primary purpose is transformation. It uses Mars energy to do that transformation. Okay, Pluto transforms. Mars goes to war. So Scorpio transforms by tearing some up. Okay, that's how it works. Now let's go and look over at Aquarius. Aquarius's primary ruler is Uranus. Uranus is the energy of rebellion. It bucks against the system. It says, hey, you know what? It only bucks against the system when the rules are not humanitarian. Most of your Aquarians, are humanitarians. So it bucks against humanitarian any system that goes against the greater good of humanity. All right. Uranus, that's the energy of Uranus. That is the primary planetary ruler for Aquarius. This is so funny. I realize why that pop-up comes on the screen now, y'all. If you show your thumb to the camera, it shows a thumbs up on the screen. I don't know why it does that. It's just something I've noticed. So anyway, let me keep going. It took me a while to figure that out. Anyway, so Uranus is the primary planetary ruler for Aquarius. Too many us's. Uranus, Aquarius. Its secondary one is Saturn. Saturn is how it does it. So you look at Uranus's Aquarius does Aquarius rules over y'all. I'm sorry, I'm gonna get this. I promise y'all. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, which is the energy of rebellion. Its secondary ruler is Saturn, which is which is the ruler of time, karma, hard work. Okay, so when you look at the other sign ruled by Saturn, it is Capricorn. Capricorn is the sign of hard work, okay? Climbing, whatever. So, time, all of that. Aquarius rebels using that Uranus energy. But how does it do it? It does it typically through structure, order, and hard work. That's the Saturnian energy. Okay. Now, let me move forward. Okay. Let me move forward. That was for somebody. Somebody needed to hear that. Let me see if I can get my bandwidth back. Well, y'all said it was okay, so I'm gonna keep going. It's probably just going to come back as a little bit standard definition or splotchy in the replay. But let me do one thing here. Let me do one thing just because this is annoying me. Give me 1 second, y'all. Okay, we're back on here. All right. So we're back on now. So that was just a quick breakdown or rundown of those planetary energies and how they apply. Let's get back to Saturn now so we can move through this. Mama Saturn is going to make sure that you learn your lessons, okay? And it's going to take time to do it. Now, why is it important to know that or to understand or understand that Saturn is slow moving energy? Because if the goal is your growth and you're learning your lessons, you learn your lessons for what? So you can grow. We come here for soul growth. That is the purpose of that Saturn energy. But watch this. If you know Saturn's going to slow you down and that is going to be your area, that house is going to be your area of challenge, then what the devil's going to want to do is he's going to want to come and give you a quick solution. Saturn moves slow, but that's also your weakness. That is the area that you need to build up, an area that you need to shore up. What the enemy does is the enemy looks at what that weakness is and it immediately tries to give you a quick way out of that. There's no quick way out of that lesson. You can't, if you're supposed to go through the 12th grade, there's no fast track to get through the 12th grade. Now, I know some of you might come on here and say, oh, well, I skipped I ain't talking to y'all. Okay. I'm not talking to y'all brainiacs. I'm talking about everybody else. All right. If you have a school year to go through, you got that school year to go through. You don't get the test out of it. But what the enemy will do is the enemy will come and present you with what appears to be a solution that'll get you out of that karma, that lesson, that karmic lesson quickly. But what did I say? Saturn takes 29 to 30 years just to go through a complete zodiac cycle. So whatever sign you were born in under Saturn, that Saturn return is not going to come back around until you're 20 until 20 something years. If your Saturn is in mine, Gemini, it's going to take 20 something years for me to get back to Saturn and Gemini. That's how slow moving that is. Okay. Oh, I'm on me said, okay, that makes sense. Now, watch this. The devil is going to show up as a rapid, quick, fast escape from all of your biggest worries. From all of your biggest worries. Okay. Now, think about school. You can study and work hard to pass the test, or you can not put in the work, then try to cheat on test day and get someone to give you the answers. Have we not all seen that in junior high, high school? You go in there, you can study hard. You're like, hey, okay, we got a big test. We got an important test coming up in 2 weeks. I need to study. I need to make sure I get this. Hey, what's up, Anya? How you doing? So I need to study. I need to work hard. I need to make sure I get this lesson. I need to make sure I know this material so that I can pass this test. But then you got others that are like, man, it's too hard, man. I ain't even trying to waste my time studying this, man. I'm probably going to fail this, but I know somebody who can write those answers down. Now, this is old school because I know they do things differently in school. I'm telling my age now. But back in the day, people used to write little stuff down and then slip notes and try to get it when the teacher wasn't looking, or the teacher's at the front of the class with her head down, writing something down. And people got one person got their eye on the teacher and they sliding a note up there with the answers on it. That's that devil. For those that didn't want to do that homework, that devil's going to show up and say, hey, man, I got a cheat sheet right here. Just write this down. But you don't cheat the universe because you didn't learn. You didn't learn. So watch this. Let me go. Okay. So let me keep going. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna backtrack in case I miss anything. Y'all got any questions? Y'all stop and ask me, okay? Because I want this to be interactive before we get to the example phase. Okay. Now, Saturn, I just talked about it. It rules over the sign of Capricorn. Capricorn is the energy of hard work and slow and steady progress to achieve success. The devil is always going to come with the opposite of the Saturnian Capricornian energy. So instead of your taking your time and making sure you get through it, the devil's always going to come with the opposite of that. Capricorn energy is slow, steady climb. It's the mountain goat. It's going to consider that that's a tough climb, but you ain't never seen a mountain goat fall, okay? But that mountain goat doesn't fall because it takes its time. It considers the best path, and it's like, I'm eventually going to get there. But what does the devil do? The devil comes along and says, hey, you ain't got to climb that, man. I got a helicopter. All you got to do is jump off that steep rock face and land in this open bay of this helicopter. Somebody with not good sense in their head is going to try that and probably miss that helicopter. Okay. All right. So now Saturn, again, is slow moving energy. And we have to remember, good things come in time. You ever heard that song? What is that song by one of my favorite songs I like to listen to in the morning when I'm getting up and getting ready and get my juices flowing? It is Jumpstart by Natalie Cole. Okay. She goes, nothing good comes easy. Ooh, we gotta work until we get it right. Ooh, we gotta work till we get it right. Nothing good comes easy. That's that Capricornian energy. That is Capricorn Saturn. Nothing good comes easy, okay? But the devil's always going to tempt you with the opposite, okay? Always going to tempt you with the opposite. That's your weakness. Whatever you came here, that's in your Saturn placement. That is a weakness that you probably something that carried over from a previous lifetime, because Saturn is the ruler of karma. So whatever karmic lessons you came in. Now I know some people say, well, I don't. Now those of you who know a little bit about numerology, you know that you can look at your birth date. There's a karma calculator out there. You guys can probably Google it, look it up or whatever. But there's a karma calculator that you can use to put in. You put your birth date into it, and it'll run your numbers and tell you if the number that results is a karmic number, meaning that you have karma to pay back in your lifetime. Some people are going to get a response to that says they got karma. Others are going to see that they don't have any karmic debt to pay back. But everybody still has a lesson to learn, okay? So you can call that karma. All karma does is pays back what you're owed, okay? Or it pays whatever you put in, you get that back out. That's karma, okay? So the devil's always going to show up with something quick and easy, but the goodness takes time, okay? You got to learn your lessons. Mama Saturn says, nope, you're not going to go outside and play till you learn your lesson. Now, quick and easy what? If Saturn wants to restrict you and make sure that you learn your lessons, and Saturn is a slow-moving energy, and Saturn wants to make sure that you take your time, and then the devil wants to show up with an opposite, a quick and easy solution, quick and easy what? This is where we're getting into the meat now, y'all. Get your pens out, get your notepads out, take notes. Get your phone out, whatever your note-keeping app is. This is where we're going to take notes. If you want to know what that quick and easy thing is that the devil's going to show up with in your life, what that challenge is, that temptation is going to show up in your life, you have to look at the house number that your Saturn is in. Okay? All right? You got to look at the house number that your Saturn is in. What is the devil's, aka temptation's, job? It is to kill, steal, and destroy, right? It wants to kill you so you don't do what? So you don't graduate. So you don't graduate. What do you mean, Matthew? I keep telling y'all, those of you who have been watching me for a while, I keep telling you, and you've heard a lot of other spiritualists say this: death is an illusion. It's an illusion. All it is a transition. It's a transition. Your energy transitions out of this vehicle. You're judged for how you did what you came to do in this vehicle. And if you did not do what you came here to do, you get to do it all over again. What's that movie I always recommend to y'all? Go watch that Tom Cruise 2014 movie, The Edge of Tomorrow. It is it's a great example of the journey of the soul. In Edge of Tomorrow, he has something that he's got to do in the area of combat. And each time he makes a mistake, he dies. But guess what? He comes back and he's right back in that same scenario where he's got to go back to this war. But each time he gets a little bit of deja vu and he's like, I died the last time doing this. I'm not going to do that again. I remember the same conversation. I remember that same person sitting there saying these words, and this was my response, and it failed for me. So let me take a different route. And each time, I know I'm playing spoiler, each time he progresses a little bit further. He gets killed, he progresses a little further. He gets killed, he progresses a little further because he remembers just enough of how he failed the last time. And so finally, he's through it. He's through it. And then he doesn't have to repeat that lesson anymore. And then he receives what? His reward. So we defer our rewards when we don't do what we came here to do. If you're in grade school and you fail the test, you fail the final exam or whatever, you defer graduating to the next grade until you pass that test. It's the same way in life with your Saturn. But temptation knows that weakness too. So that is the area that you're going to be the most vulnerable. That Saturn house is the area where you're going to be the most vulnerable. I'm going to say that one more time for the people in the back of the room. Your Saturn house is the area where you're going to be most vulnerable in life, okay? So the devil, aka temptation's, job is to do what? To kill you so you don't graduate, so your soul doesn't graduate, so your soul doesn't ascend to a higher level or higher purpose on a different timeline. Next, temptation's job is to steal from you so you do not have what you need in order to help you graduate. What does it say? What did the word say? The word said the devil comes to kill, steal, and destroy. Kill. If they kill you, then you don't get. If the devil kills your dream or kills you per se before you complete that requirement that you have in your Saturn placement, then you got to come back and do it again. Saturn is the ruler of karma. So I'm trying to help y'all understand what this karmic loop is. You hear a lot of people on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, a lot of these different public platforms, you hear people talking about the karmic soul loop. You hear that a lot. Some of y'all that are into the esoteric and the spiritual things, the spiritual nature, you hear people saying this karmic soul loop. That karmic soul loop continues not because what do people say? Oh man, when it's your time to go, don't walk into the light, go to the dark. I hear stuff like that. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up with astrology. It doesn't add up with astrology. It ain't got nothing to do with you walking to some light or you walking to the dark. It's got everything to do with, did you complete what you came here to do? What was your Saturn? What was your test? What was your area of growth? All of that Saturn. Did you knock out of the park what you came here to do? If you didn't, then you got that loop. Saturn is the ruler of karma. So the karmic loop has everything to do with what? Saturn. Pay attention to your Saturn setting. Y'all gonna hear me say Saturn a lot. Y'all probably gonna get sick of hearing it, okay? I apologize in advance. The Saturn being the ruler of karma, pay attention to your karmic loop. She said, FYI, there's a flame-shaped illumination surrounding your third eye. Wow. 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 Well, thank you for sharing that. I will say that another one of my favorite public social media people and YouTube people, Kalai Amin Ra. I've never heard this before. I heard him say it, but he says melanin is condensed sunlight. Melanin is condensed sunlight. So you're probably seeing some of that condensed sunlight. Thank you for showing me. Thank you for sharing that with me. Thank you for sharing that with me. And you know, the funny thing, I'm all me. I'll share this. There's a photo that that my wife took of me at my 40-something birthday or whatever, where, you know, we went out for dinner or whatever, and we went out with my cousin and his wife and some friends or whatever. And she said, okay, close your eyes and make a wish. They brought the little, you know, when it's your birthday at certain restaurants, somebody will say, hey, it's his birthday. And they'll bring a dessert out with a candle and whatever. And I don't know how she captured this. You could not see it with the naked eye. But when I was making my wish, I had my eyes closed like this and in making a wish in front of the candle. And you could literally see a beam of light going from the flame on the candle to my third eye. I can't make that up. I cannot make that up. It's in the photo. If I had it, I'd be tempted to share it, but then maybe not, because you know I'd be some weirdos out here in internet land. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, thank you for sharing that. So anyway, to get back to that point, Saturn. Okay, y'all gonna hear me say this a lot, but we're gonna get this. Enemy comes to kill, steal, and destroy. What did the Messiah said? He said, I've come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. Okay. That through that elevated Christ consciousness. I'm gonna save that for another video. Okay. Now, kill, steal, and destroy. What does he come to do? Comes to kill you so your soul doesn't do what? Graduate. Steal what? Steal from you so you don't have what you need that will help you graduate. I'm gonna show you how he steals from you in just a minute. Pardon me, y'all. I wanted to put it on mute so you didn't hear me burp. All right. And kill, steal, and destroy. What does he destroy? The enemy of your soul wants to destroy you or destroy your hopes and your dreams so you don't graduate. Kill, steal, and destroy all lead into that one single purpose. That is to keep you in this karmic loop so your soul does not elevate. So you as the soul do not elevate and ascend to a higher plane, to a higher state of consciousness. Why? Because guess what? If you are in this karmic loop and you got to come back here, guess what? You probably got some low vibrational entity. And I'm not talking about person. I'm talking about the energy. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I just dropped a video. I premiered it back at and almost 2 hours ago at 7 o'clock, talking about this Super Bowl thing tomorrow and how the Super Bowl is a soul harvest, not a soul harvest, an energy harvest. There's certain beings that cannot create. So they trigger you so that you can give off low vibrational energy, which they then feed off of to create low vibrational occurrences. Y'all go watch that video. There's some great TikTok videos at the end of that. So y'all check that out. Maybe I'll put a link in the description box when it's done. But if not, y'all just go to my YouTube channel. I literally just uploaded that video and premiered it a couple hours ago. Now, kill, steal, and destroy. Kill you so you don't graduate or ascend. Steal from you so you don't have what you need to graduate and ascend. And destroy you, your hopes, or your dreams so you don't graduate. Why? So you come back here and you continue to serve them instead of serving the will of the universal I am presence, which is for you to constantly ascend and elevate, which is for you to expand as a soul, not contract, for you to expand as a soul. But there's an enemy, the dark side, as they call it in Star Wars, that wants to keep you in a karmic loop. Why? Because guess what? As long as you're in this physical body in this earth, paying back karma, they can continue to tempt you and keep you here. Because guess what? The ones that are typically running a low vibrational system like this matrix, they use you to do their work for them. They can't even do any physical work. They need you to do it for them. That's a story for another day. So now, We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about where am I in my notes here? Okay. Area of struggle, Saturn house. Okay, let me read through this really quick. So, the scripture says, resist the devil and he will flee from you, right? What's that verse? Let me look that up really quick. One of y'all probably know it by heart. If you do, drop it in the chat. Okay, I believe that's James 4:7. Y'all know when you come to Maddie's Rap, you're going to get a little bit of scripture, at least, if not a lot. This ain't necessarily a scripture edition tonight. Okay. Let me bring this up. Thank y'all again for being here tonight. I'm enjoying doing this for you guys. All right. Whoops, that's not what I want. James 4:7. Submit yourselves, therefore, unto the universal I am presence. Submit yourselves, therefore, to the will of the universal I am presence, to your life, for your life, for your life. Submit yourselves, therefore, to God, it says here. We're going to modify that. Submit yourselves, therefore, to the will of the universal I am presence for your life. Resist the devil, aka temptation, and he will flee from you. Okay? We're going to talk about how to do that. How do you defeat him? Okay? First, you have to know thyself. I'm always on here talking about know thyself. What's the number one way to know yourself? Get in that birth chart. Learn your personal astrology. Learn your personal numerology. Numerology is really the basis. Astrology sits on top of numerology. The universe speaks in numbers. Everything in the universe has a numeric value, whether it's a vibrational frequency, whether it is a measure of distance, whether it is a measure of time. Everything in the universe has a numeric value to it. Okay? The atom at the atomic level has 3 primary things in it. Okay? 3 primary particles within the atom: the proton, the electron, and the neutron. The proton, masculine energy; the electron, feminine energy; and the neutron, neutral energy. Okay? We have 7 major chakras. Okay? 3 of them are masculine, like the proton; 3 of them are feminine, like the electron; and one of them, the crown, is neutral, like the neutron. Everything in the universe moves, speaks, communicates in numbers. Okay? So learn your personal numerology, learn your astrology. Astrology sits on top of numerology. Once you know your personal numbers and your personal energetic placements, which are your astrological signs and placements, then you can learn yourself. Because if you don't even know your Saturn placement, how are you going to know where you're? I mean, you'll know what your area of weakness is, but you won't be aware of it. You won't be aware of why you're struggling in that area. Okay? So, first, know thyself. When you know your birth chart and understand your Saturn, you'll know where your biggest struggle is. Remember, I told you your enemy does too. Your enemy is always watching you to learn where your weaknesses are. One of the things we had to learn when I was in the Army, when you're out scouting, if you're on a scout team, one of the first pieces of information you got to bring back is, what's their force strength? How many people do they have? What is their force size? How many people do they have? What kind of equipment do they have? What kind of weaponry do they have? Do they look like they're high morale, or do they look like they're low morale? Your enemy wants this information on you because they want to know where your weaknesses are. They want to know if they're going to be able to hit you in an area that is not going to phase you, not going to affect you, or if they're going to hit you in an area that hurts you. Your Jupiter is the opposite of your Saturn. So your Jupiter is actually a strength too. Whatever your Jupiter sign and house is, that's actually a strength for you. I just told you mine is my Jupiter's in Capricorn in the 3rd house. That's a strength for me. You can't scare me into shutting up. I'm a hardcore, hard charging Capricorn. Y'all know what Capricorn energy is about. And that 3rd house is about communication and learning. You can't scare me, you can't stop me from learning, and you can't scare me into shutting up. I'm not going to do it. If it's the right thing to do, now I'm always going to exercise wisdom, but if it's the right thing to do, I'm going to speak up. That's how I'm built. So you can't hit me there. But If you know my Saturn enemy, then you're like, this is where we can get him. So I'm gonna show you now. I'm gonna show you. Remember, your enemy knows you because he studies you. Don't let him know you better than you know yourself. Get in that birth chart, get in your personal numerology. Now, here's the kicker. I've been talking for 45 minutes now. Here's the kicker. Here's where the enemy's going to attack you. The house that your Saturn is in. Remember, you have two aspects to your Saturn. You got a sign and a house. Okay. Well, I'll talk about the sign later. The house is that area where you have to learn your lesson. But guess what? That's where the enemy is going to tempt you with what? A quick way out. Remember, Saturn is slow moving energy. So the enemy is going to tempt you with a fast way out of whatever that energy is. So now let's go through the houses. Let me pull up something for the houses so we can go through this together. Because all of you, each of you has a Saturn sign sitting in a house. And remember what I said in the community post. If you don't know what time you were born, I'm not going to be able to give you any real assistance, any valuable assistance with this tonight. But you can go back and learn what time you were born and then rerun your birth chart with the correct city and time of birth. And then you'll know what your house placements are. Now, let me pull this up. Do I want to use this one or this one? Okay, let's go with this one right here. This is a good basic one. Y'all got a question? Drop it in the chat for me. All right, so we're going to go through the houses now. We're going to go through these houses. Uh-oh. Did I lose my screen? Hang on. Come back. There we go. All right. So if your Saturn, now here's the part where I'm telling you where the enemy is going to attack you and how to resist it. Remember, it says resist the devil, aka temptation, and he will flee from you. How are you going to resist him if you don't know where your own weaknesses are? But the enemy, the dark side, knows your weaknesses. All right. Let's start here in house number 1. Okay. If your Saturn is in the first house, then that is the house of self. The first house is the house of self. So if your Saturn is in the first house, what the enemy is going to do is he's going to attack you by giving you low self-esteem. He's going to throw things at you that are going to give you low self-esteem. He may attack you in with the type of attack that will make you look at yourself the wrong way, make you look down on yourself, make you have low self-worth. Because what does it say right here? It says house number 1 is subjective. It is self-awareness, personality, mask, identity. He may attack you by having you think about how other people see you. Oh man, look, you know what? Oh man, other people are looking at you like you're this, that, or the third. Why don't you go over here and go get this plastic surgery, and then people will they'll look at you differently. Go get this plastic surgery. Go cut your face up. Go get a BBL. Go get a breast lift. Go do something to change your image so that people can look at you differently. What's one of the biggest, and I'm sorry if this triggers anybody. This is not what my intention is, but I'm going to give it to you the way the spirit gives it to me. Oh, you don't want to be a boy? Well, you can go and change your gender. You don't want to be a girl? Go change your gender so you can feel good about yourself. If you were man, I'm telling you, it's going to trigger some people, but this is what God got me doing tonight. So don't get mad at me. I'm just a messenger. Okay. If you were born a certain gender, okay, and you decide to change that, what do you think is going to happen the next time you come back to Earth? There was something you were supposed to do with regards to who you are or how you identify in the package that you were born in. So if the enemy can kill your dreams, kill your hopes, steal from you, take whatever it is that you need, that, hey, you know what? A friend, maybe you got that right person in your corner or that right family member that's not going to tell you what you want to hear, but tell you what you need to hear. And then you say, here he come the temptation. Man, that person ain't even in your corner, man. They ain't riding for you. They ain't telling you what you want. They ain't look, you want to do this right here. They telling you not to do it. Get rid of them. But deep down in your heart, you know that what they're telling you is right. But it's going to take you time because Saturn is the ruler of time and Saturn does not move fast. But the enemy is always going to come at you with a quick solution. Let me help you out of that. Go do this. So I gave you probably the most extreme and probably the most controversial aspect. But what did I just tell you about me? I ain't scared to speak. I am not afraid to speak. Okay. That was for somebody. I don't know who that was for, but that was for somebody. We breaking chains right now. North Node is in Aries. That's war. We going to war against everything that has held us down. Everything that. All right. Let me fall back. 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 I feel my mom rising up in me. Let me fall back. My mom don't play. She don't care. Let me fall back. Let me fall back. Okay. Anyway, the first house. If your Saturn is in the first house, then you came here to work on you, your self-image, your self-worth. Okay. How you look to yourself, how you look to yourself. Self-esteem is esteem of yourself. What did Cat Williams say in that comedy special about 10 years ago? Self-esteem is esteem of yourself. I love Cat Williams because he keeps it 100. So, something about you that you came here to work on. Maybe something happened in your last life where you did not project in the way that you were supposed to. So you were sent back here to work on that. Okay. Okay. Now, I'm being guided to give y'all something, to take a pause here and give y'all something different. I'm gonna go back with another scripture because I told y'all about that scripture. Where was it? I just read it. Submit yourselves to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Guess what? I'm gonna read another one for you. All right, because I got that written down here somewhere. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna come back to that. I'm gonna come back to that. I got it in my notes. I'm gonna come back to it. I'm gonna come back to it. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. I'm gonna take my time with this, y'all. Let's keep going. Anya said facts over feelings. Appreciate that, Anya. All right. If your Saturn is in the second house, the second house is the house of material possessions. It's the house of money. Okay. It is the house of things that we value. It is even the house of things we love. It is the house of things that we treasure. Okay. I tell y'all all the time, the Bible is a spiritual book. It is not a religious book. There's a lot of astrological and numerological principles in the Bible. Watch this. Watch this. I'm going to blow y'all mind at night, man. I'm going to blow y'all mind at night. That's what I came here to do. I'm going to blow y'all mind at night. Watch this. Watch this, y'all. Watch this. We putting in some work tonight, y'all. We're going to put some work in tonight. Let's go here. Let me switch this. Stop the screen. All right, let's go to Matthew. One of my favorite New Testament books, and not because that's my namesake. That's not the reason. Okay. Watch this. Let's go to Matthew 6:19 through 21. Watch this. Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth where moth and rust doth corrupt and where thieves break through and steal, but lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt and where thieves do not break through nor steal. Here's the kicker, verse 21. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Matthew 6:21. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Do you know that that's also an astrological principle? That's an astrological principle. Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. I was going to do a separate video on this, y'all, but it came out tonight, so it is what it is. It came out tonight, so it is what it is. Your second house, that's where your treasure is. Things that you value. What does it say there? Values and valuables, material security, attitudes toward possessions. Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. So guess what? Whatever you got in your second house, that's what you have a heart for. That's what you have a heart for. So guess what? If your Saturn's in your second house, you are going to remember Saturn restricts. Saturn restricts until you learn your lessons. So if your Saturn's in your first house, you may be restricted in how you may be reserved for a long time in how you present yourself. You may be reserved for a long time in how you look at yourself. Okay. But if it's in your second house, you're going to have some challenges with money. You're going to have some challenges with material possessions. You're going to have some challenges with the things that you value the most. All right. Typically, when I see second house in any chart, it's typically, I typically got to say with money, possessions, resources, money and resources. Because some people aren't, a lot of people with second house stuff, they don't care as much about the possessions as having the ability to get what they need. Okay. Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. So if you got Saturn in the second house, here's what the enemy's going to do. He's going to present, remember, the enemy always wants to come and bring you a quick solution for something that you're supposed to take your time to learn and achieve, right? So if your Saturn is in your second house, what the enemy's going to do is he's going to come by with a fast money solution. Oh man, you ain't got to work hard. Here go a fast money solution. Here's a quick way to get this. Here's a quick way to get that. Ladies, if you're working hard, guess what the enemy, if you're working hard, but you not quite getting there, what the enemy going to do? He's going to bring you something. He's going to bring you something or someone. Now, here's where the sign plays in there too. Here's where the sign plays in there too a little bit. I was supposed to save the signs, but I'm going to skip ahead a little bit too. You got to look at the energy that is in that sign because he's looking at that too. Let's say, for example, you got a second house. Let's say your Saturn's in the second house in the sign of Gemini. Let's say your Saturn's in the second house in the sign of Gemini. What's that mean? Gemini is the energy of communication. It's the energy of learning. So guess what? If you're trying to develop that second house and break free from prove that you've learned that lesson, illustrate and demonstrate that you've learned the lessons that have to do with the second house, that have to do with money, that have to do with valuables, resources, that sort of thing, and that sign is Gemini, then you're supposed to be learning. You're supposed to be educating yourself about it. You're supposed to be talking. You're supposed to be going and talking to people that perhaps have succeeded in the area of the second house. But here's what the enemy's going to do. He's going to bring you somebody that's fast talking. He's going to bring somebody by that tells you everything that you want to hear. He's going to lead you down a rabbit hole, have you learning stuff that you got no business learning. Why? Because he wants to kill, steal, and destroy. He wants to steal what you need in order to get where you need to go. So listen to those voices. If somebody's giving you advice, it's going to take your working. Remember, Saturn rules over Capricorn. Capricorn's a sign of hard work. Okay. So if somebody is coming by to advise you, if that Saturn's in Gemini in the second house, if somebody's trying to teach you principles that's going to take you time to apply them and time for you to build that wealth up, what the enemy's going to do is, oh man, don't listen to that. Man, that's going to take you 3, 4, 5 years to do that, man. Here's a way you can do this right away. Start paying attention because that temptation is going to come in the form of something that's always a fast solution to something that's supposed to be moving slow. So pay attention to the house, but also pay attention to the sign because the sign is the energy you're supposed to be using, but the enemy is going to give you something that is faster. If it's in Gemini, you're supposed to be learning. Take your time. No, the enemy knows that you're supposed to be learning. So he's going to give you somebody that's going to come and give you something that's faster than the normal route that you would take. All right. I just wanted to say that. So if your Saturn is in, to look at the sign too. I'm gonna go through the signs in a minute, but I wanted to go through the houses first. But I had to give y'all that example. Okay. So if that Saturn's in the second house, what the enemy's going to do is he's going to look to give you a fast solution, a fast track to money. But all it's going to do is derail you and slow you down further. If that Saturn's in the third house, what is the third house? Mindset. It's thought. It's speech. How you think about yourself. How you think about things, how you think about life. It's going to come across in communication. All right. How you learn. I just talked about that. I talked about the learning part with it being Gemini. Gemini is the ruler of the third house. So already have kind of given it to you. If your Saturn's in the third house, then that means that you're supposed to be, you're going to be restricted. You're going to be restricted in your communication. Saturn is going to restrict your communication. You may have learning, you may have challenges to learning. You may have challenges with communicating with people. You may stutter. You may find that you stutter. Anything that's got to deal with speech, anything that's got to deal with communication, anything that's got to do with learning, you may have some learning challenges. But guess what? You have to understand that the enemy is going to come with a fast solution. You ain't got to learn. You ain't got to go to school. Man, skip school. You can go ahead and sell these drugs. You ain't got to go to school. I can teach you a fast way to do this. If that Saturn's in the third house, is about learning. Third house is ruled by Gemini. Gemini is a sign of learning, is a sign of speech, is a sign of communication. But also remember, Gemini being the ruler of the third house, it's going to give you that dichotomy. It's the twins. It's going to give you that dichotomy. It's going to show you two sides of something. The enemy is typically going to show you that quick, fast route. Everything's always fast. Okay? All right? Broad is the path that leads to destruction. Nobody really breaks down what that really means. Broad is the path that leads to destruction, but straight and narrow is the path that leads to righteousness. All right? Nobody really breaks down what that means. What that really means is that broad, what is broad? Broad is wide. Wide is what? A greater number. The wider something is, the more stuff you can get on that path. If a path is 20 feet wide, you can get a whole lot of people, a whole lot of cars going on that path. Well, maybe not cars at 20 feet, but 20 feet, 30, 50, 100 feet wide, you can get a whole lot of people moving down that path. But if that path is about 3 feet wide, you're not going to get a whole lot of people moving through there. Okay? It might take longer to get through there because you're a single file versus you being single file one after the other versus everybody going at the same time. So if you got 20 people moving through a path at single file, it's going to take longer if you're number 20 to get to that finish line than if you got 20 people in a row across on a path that'll hold 25 people. All y'all can get there at the same time. So broad is the path that leads to destruction, means you got a whole lot of ways to do the wrong thing, but only 1 or 2 ways to do the right thing. That's what that passage of scripture means. If nobody ever told you, I told it to you tonight. Broad is the path that leads to destruction, but straight and narrow is the path that leads to righteousness. And it says there'll be few to find it. Why? Because most people give in to the temptation to get something over with quickly. There's 100 ways to do the wrong thing. There's only a handful of ways to do the right thing. That's what that means. Okay, let's keep moving. The fourth house. If your Saturn's in the fourth house, you're gonna have challenges at home. You're gonna be restricted at home. There's something that you needed to learn about home life. Okay, you're going to be tempted somewhere. Just look at it here, you guys. I don't want to spend too much time so we can get this moving because I want to help some people tonight. So you could have family issues that you came here to overcome. Okay, what's the enemy going to do? He's coming. You don't need that. You don't need that. Man, look here. This is your family. What do we hear about the kids all the time that don't have the fathers at home? We hear this story told in a number of cities across America. Well, I ain't had no daddy at home and nobody was helping me. But I turned to the streets and these gangsters, they made me feel like family. We hear that story told a lot. That's fourth house energy. You got trouble at home. You don't feel like you got a family that supports you. The enemy's going to come and show you a new family, but it ain't the family that's good for you. Maybe you came here to learn how to build that family, how to help the family that you were born into, if that Saturn's in the fourth house. Okay. So where the enemy's going to tempt you, if that Saturn's in the fourth house, he's going to get you to look away from home and try to find a different solution, something that's fast, something that gets you out of your pain and anguish quickly instead of you taking your time. The enemy wants to move fast, but Saturn is a slow-moving energy. Okay? House number 5, your creativity, your recreation, procreation, entertainment, pleasures, romance, children, play. Also like to call 5 your house of strength. The things that you're strongest in, your biggest strengths lie in your 5th house. So guess what? If your Saturn's in your 5th house, those are areas where you're going to be restricted. What's the ruler of the 5th house? Is the sign that rules the 5th house is Leo. The planetary ruler for Leo is the sun. So your 5th house is the area where you shine. But if your Saturn's in the 5th house, you may not shine as bright there. Whatever you have in your 5th house, you're going to be restricted. And you know what, y'all? Let me back up. Because I'm getting ahead of myself. Thank you, Father, for showing this to me. Let me back up because there's something else you need to know in order to know. And I may be jumping ahead in my notes. Let me look. I may be jumping ahead. Okay. I did jump ahead. I mean, I jumped ahead of myself. Let me go back to my notes for just a moment. Let me see where y'all are at here. Okay, I still got y'all. Okay. Hot Shot said, don't sugarcoat. Okay. Anya said, wow, this is so interesting. Thank you. Tora Girl said, this is awesome and how great it would be so helpful for our children that's dealing with speech impediments if they only knew their purpose is to perfect it. Okay. Let me back up for a minute, y'all. I'm going to back all the way the blank up. Okay. I stopped at 5. I'm going to back up to 1 because y'all need to hear this. Okay. How your enemy, aka the enemy of your soul, is going to show up in your life. Watch this. This is important. Y'all pay attention to this. I hope you got your birth chart on your computer screen, on your phone, or on your tablet as I'm saying this. Okay. How the enemy is going to show up in your life. Whatever house your Saturn is in, go back to your house list. Go back to your house list and look to see what sign resides in that house. Okay. Look to see what sign resides in that house. Now, I know I said the sign that your Saturn is in, look at that, but I went a step too far because the sign that your Saturn is in is the energy that you need to work through that. That's the energy. Now I'm jumping all around my notes, but I need to backtrack because I don't want anybody to be confused. Let me back up. You got, when it comes to your Saturn placement in your birth chart, you have the sign and the house. Okay. I think the example I gave was, I don't remember what the example was I gave, but anyway, let me just pull one out of my rear end. Let's say your Saturn is in Capricorn in the 4th house. Let's say your Saturn is in Capricorn in the 4th house. Okay. So if your Saturn is in Capricorn in the 4th house, that tells me what? The area where you're going to struggle in life is your home life. Okay. You may struggle with your privacy. You may have family problems. With your Capricorn, with your Saturn sign being Capricorn, that means you're going to have to use the energy of structure, order, and hard work and slow, steady progress in order to overcome that challenge in your life and prove that you are now able or worthy to have that area unlocked and receive the rewards of that house. Okay. Because the challenges and the rewards are coming in the same house. The challenges and the rewards come in the same house. The challenges and the rewards come in the same house. But you got to, what did I say? What does mama do? Mama, can I have a cookie? No, you can't have no cookie until you clean your room. Guess what? The thing that's being restricted from you is the cookies. That cookie jar is being restricted from you. No, I'm taking these cookies and I'm putting them up on top of the cabinet. You don't get any cookies until you clean your room, and I better not see you climbing up on no ladder. And I better come back in here, and this room better be clean to my standards. What's the next thing you should be saying? Well, Mom, what's your standard? I'm glad you asked. I want to see this, and this. All right. And when I look under your bed, I don't want to see anything you shoved under there. I want your bed to be clear underneath it. Maybe 1 or 2 pairs of shoes. They want to be neatly lined up. Your clothes, I want your clothes hung up in your closet nicely. I don't want them to be all jacked up, whatever. All right. Your bed needs to be made. All right. Vacuum the floor, whatever. Wash the windows, whatever. Put your toys away, whatever. I want everything neat and in order. That's my standard. Okay. And then she's going to come back and look later. Well, guess what? The thing that was restricted from you, what did you want? You wanted cookies. The cookies were restricted till you cleaned your room. When you clean your room, what are you getting? You're getting the cookies. So the thing that is restricted is the very thing that's going to be rewarded to you once you overcome. Keep that in mind. Okay. Now, so the energy that you have to use is that sign. Man, you know what? Ma told me I can't do this. And let's go back to Gemini. My Saturn for these cookies is in Gemini. The house is the house of cookies. Okay. The sign is Gemini. What do I need to do? The energy I need to be using is learning and communication. Well, I've already started with the communication part because I asked my mom, what's the standard? She says the standard is this. She wants the floor to look this way. She wants the clothes to be okay. Well, now I need to learn. Let me get on the internet and learn how to neatly. I want to really impress my mother. I don't want this to be basic. I want to really blow her socks off. Let me get online and learn about how do some other people align their closets. How do some other people, what's the best tool I can use to vacuum this floor? Man, you know what? I could just make my bed by pulling the covers over. But I heard somebody, you know what? God sent an ex-military guy down the street, and he was just telling me about how they had to do the 45-degree angles on their sheets when they tuck their sheets into the bed. Let me get him to teach me how to do that. Now, hey, Ma, look, Not only did I make my bed, look at that. Ah, you like that, right, Ma? I got that 45-degree angle right there on my bed sheet. Baby, you did that thing. You know what? Not only can you get those cookies there, I'm going to the store. Some other cookies you want? That's what that looks like, y'all. That's what that looks like. So the sign, I gave you the example, is Gemini. You have to speak and you have to learn. You have to be willing to learn. Okay? Now, but here's where the enemy is going to attack you. Watch this. This is what I needed you to know. This is what I needed you to know. Because this is how the enemy is going to show up. You go and look at your birth chart. Okay? Whatever house your Saturn is in, let's say, for example, it's in the 4th house, then guess what? You go and look at your birth chart and see what sign you have sitting in the 4th house. So if your Saturn is in Gemini in the 4th house, if you want to know how the enemy's going to attack you and what he's going to look like when he shows up, go and look at that 4th house. Go and look at that 4th house. Look at that sign that's in that 4th house. Okay? Look at that sign that's in the 4th house. Let's say when you're going down through your house list, let's see, what would be 4th? Let me see. Okay, let's say you're Gemini. Let's go back to Gemini. Your Gemini rising, guess what? Your Gemini is going to be the 1st house. Cancer is going to be the 2nd house. No. Let me go this. Your Cancer rising. Cancer is going to be the 1st house. Leo's going to be the 2nd house. Virgo's going to be the 3rd. Libra's in your 4th. So if your Saturn's in the 4th house, then I'm sorry, if your Saturn's in, what did I say? Your Saturn's in the 4th house, and then you go and look in your house list, and the sign that you got in your 4th house is Libra. Well, guess what? The enemy is going to show up typically as something to challenge you. It's going to show up as something. What is Libra? Libra's ruled by Venus. So it's going to show up as something that looks good to you, something that's beautiful, something that's alluring, something that, now Libra is the sign of truth, but watch what the enemy's going to do. The enemy doesn't know truth. So the enemy's going to show you the low vibrational side of Libra. Enemy going to show up lying to you. He's going to lie. That is how you know how the enemy's going to show up. That's how you know. Look at what house your Saturn is in. Look at that house number, and then go look at your house list and see what sign you got sitting in that house, because that is the energy that the enemy is going to throw at you to attack you at your weakest point. To attack you at your weakest point. I would share my Saturn house. I gave y'all the sign earlier. It's Gemini. I would share my Saturn house on here, but that's a little bit too personal. I don't want to go too far with my. So I'm gonna keep mine over here. Okay, but I know exactly the area where I've been challenged with my Saturn house. But guess what? Passed it with flying colors. My whole life. I'm not bragging. I got my own challenges, but that I'm like, nah, I got this. Nah, you ain't get me with that. You ain't get me with that. Why? You know why? Watch this, y'all. You know why? The reason why I've never fallen into whatever that temptation is that the enemy brings that's got to do with what I've got sitting in that house number is this. The energy that I have for my Saturn, the sign, is Gemini. So guess what? I talk. I'm going to talk to you and see what you're about. And in talking to you, I'm going to learn what you're about. And then I'm going to be able to make that decision. Is this a good thing or is this a bad thing? And then when I deem it bad, I'm out. Sorry if that clap is too loud. I'm out. Okay. We talking and we learning together tonight, y'all. So I had to take y'all down that side road because I wanted y'all to learn. Okay. That enemy, the way he shows up is look at your Saturn house number, find that number. If your Saturn now I'm gonna jump back over here to the I can't do it here. Y'all are gonna see this when I go through the examples. Y'all see it better when I go through the examples. But here I said, for example, your 5th house is where I stopped. So if your Saturn is in the 5th house, you're going to be restricted in the area of creativity. You might have problems with creativity. You may have mental blocks, that sort of thing. You may have problems. You may not shine. You may not shine like you want to. But guess what? And that shine, where's that shine area? Where you're going to shine is going to show up in your house list, because that's where you're supposed to shine. Okay? That is where you're supposed to shine. Now, without telling y'all what house my Saturn is in, I can tell y'all that I'm a 5th house Pisces. What does that mean? That means I'm a shine in the area of being spiritual. I'm a shine in that area. But guess what? If my Saturn were in that 5th house, I would have difficulty shining there. I would have difficulty shining there. But my Saturn ain't in the fifth house. I'm gonna leave it there. Okay. So, sixth house, the sixth house. If Saturn is in your sixth house, you are going to be attacked in the area of your health. You may have problems with being of service to others. You may want to be of service, but you can't. What did I say the enemy does? He kills, he steals what you need in order to keep your soul from ascending. You know, so you may be restricted with how you, man, I want to be a service, man, but man, I ain't got no job. I ain't got no job, man. I ain't got no money, man. I can't. Oh, you know what? I can help you be a service. You need money? Let me here. Come borrow this. Come to this payday loan place. Come to this payday loan place with this exorbitant interest rate. And before you know it, you doing this just to be able to keep your head above water. I know I've used payday loan services before when I was a young soldier and didn't know any better. Give me that payday advance. Then you realize how much money they taking out your check. You're like, wait a minute. I ain't doing this. Listen, I'll not have a check. I'll give away my whole check to get out of this loop. I'm not doing this. If your Saturn's in the sixth house, you may be challenged in the way you may have health issues. You may, hey man, take these drugs, man. Take that. That'll help you get off of that. I'm gonna keep going. Employment, work routines. You may have trouble with routines. You may have trouble being organized. The sixth house is ruled by Virgo. Virgo is a sign of organization, is a sign of analyzing. You may have trouble being able to figure out, being able to analyze what exactly is what with what. Okay, let's move on. The seventh house. If your Saturn is in the seventh house, you're going to be restricted in the area of marriage, business partnerships, family partnerships, that sort of thing. It also says legal matters. Okay. So those are some challenges you're going to have. Those are the areas that's a weakness. That's the area where the enemy's going to attack you. The enemy's going to attack you. If you're having problems with relationships, the enemy's going to show you that shiny coin. But what it's going to look like is whatever you got in your seventh house in that chart. Let's keep going. Eighth house. Let me make sure I'm still on the screen here. Okay, good. Eighth house. If your Saturn's in the eighth house, guess what? You might be restricted in having that sex life that you want. I don't know if I can say that on YouTube, but I ain't monetized anyway. So you may be restricted in having that sex life you want if your Saturn's in the eighth house, okay? You may have difficulty transforming yourself. Life is a constant process of transformation and renewal. The old dies so the new can come forth, okay? None of these plants, unless it's a perennial, like a pine tree or something, these annual plants, they die when it goes cold, but they're reborn in the spring, okay? So the eighth house is the house of transformation. You may struggle to transform and change yourself. You may have trouble with transmuting. You may have trouble. What's the rule of the eighth house? Scorpio. Scorpio is a sign of transmutation. Scorpio is the alchemist of the zodiac. You may have trouble taking one thing and turning it into another. The power of high vibrational Scorpio energy is taking something that is negative and turning it into a positive. But what did I say it does it? It does it by destroying it. But it's got to recognize first that this is not good. And then it destroys it and turns it into something that is positive or something that is useful for itself. But guess what? If your eighth house is restricted by Saturn, you may have difficulty seeing what is good, what is not good for you. You may have difficulty seeing what is not good for you. So because the enemy knows that your Saturn is in the eighth house, he knows he can send stuff at you that's not good for you because, well, you can't see what's not good for you because you're being restricted in that area. But you got to pay attention to the sign that you have. Whatever that sign is, that is the energy that you're supposed to be using. I'll go back to Gemini. I'll use Gemini again. If you're restricted in the eighth house, if you're having trouble, if you don't have quote unquote that sex life you want, if you're having trouble identifying what is not good for you so that you can transform that situation or that thing into something that's good, you're supposed to be talking and learning if that sign is Gemini. If that sign is Gemini, okay? So that's the eighth house. Death and rebirth, transformation, deeply felt peak experiences, depth of interactions with others, growth and change. You could have trouble with that if your Saturn's in the eighth house. Okay, next, the ninth house. Okay, the ninth house. If your Saturn's in the ninth house, you may have trouble with the search for meaning. What is the meaning of life? That's the house. That's the house of philosophy. That ninth house, it sits opposite of the third house, which is ruled by Gemini. The ninth house is ruled by Sagittarius. Sagittarius is the explorer. It goes out. When you're in Gemini energy, you're learning. When you're in Sagittarius energy, you're teaching. Sagittarius still learns, but it learns by going out. I'm out of the classroom now. I got my foundation in the classroom. I got my foundation from the Gemini side of my axis. Now I'm going to go out and explore and employ what I've learned in order to teach others and to learn even more. The house of higher education, mind expansion, philosophy of life, religions, journey, travel. If your Saturn's in the ninth house, you may have a desire to travel, but you can't. So what's the enemy going to do? I keep using the ladies because I know I got a lot of ladies on this live. What's the enemy going to do if your Saturn's in the ninth house? He's going to send some man along that's going, hey, yeah, listen, I can take you wherever you want to go. Where you want to go. And then you end up like that girl on social media who got flued out and found out the dude just wanted to hit and she didn't want to give him none. And then she got stranded. He canceled her return flight and she didn't have any money. She probably had her Saturn in the ninth house. I'm just saying. But you got to use that energy. Okay? Let's use Gemini again. If her Saturn is in Gemini in the ninth house, then guess what? She's supposed to be learning and communicating. If she uses that Gemini energy, hey, what are you flying me out for? Oh, shorty, you know I'm flying you out for. I mean, fine girl like you. I seen you on Instagram. You know I'm flying you out for, shouty. No, I don't know. Tell me what you're flying me out for. Communication, Gemini. Oh, girl, you know I want to hit. Yeah, that's what I thought. No, I'm not interested in getting flued out. See ya. Click, delete, block, whatever. See what I'm saying? So she resisted the devil and he fled from her. Why? Because she used the energy that is the sign that she has for her Saturn sign, focused in that house. The enemy always attacks you in the area of that is the house that is your Saturn. Now, again, I gave you half the equation. The other half is she would need to look in her ninth house and see what energy she has in her ninth house. Okay. Because that's what it's going to look like. We know she's going to be attacked in the ninth house, but then you go and look at your list and see what that attack is going to look like. Now, if she has Scorpio sitting in the ninth house, well, then we know that that attack on her ninth house energy is going to come in the form of sex or transformation or something like that. Just using that as an example. Okay. All right. Now, next, the 10th house, achievement in the world, is ruled by Capricorn. Achievement, authorities, public life. The 10th house that is called your midheaven. It's the house of public appearance. How you look in the public. What is your public life like? If your Saturn is in the 10th house, it's also known as the house of career. You may have trouble in the career space. Okay. That's almost self-explanatory. So that's where you're going to be attacked. You're going to be attacked in the area. The enemy knows your weakness. Hey, I'm gonna give you something. I'm gonna give you a quick way out. Quick way out. Okay. Go back to Gemini again. If your Saturn's in Gemini in the 10th house, then guess what? You're going to be restricted in the space of career, but through learning and communication, you can overcome those challenges and prove your worth. Okay, Mama Saturn, I did my homework. Can I have my blessings? Yes. Now I'm going to give you the greatest career you could ever have dreamed of. But the enemy's going to come along and says, oh, they're restricted in the 10th house? Let me see. Let me see what I can do. See what I'm saying? That's kind of how that works. That's kind of how that works. I'm going to give you something you ain't got to work. Here, come sell this for me. That ain't no real job. That's the kind of job that can get you either killed or landed in jail. That's what the enemy does, because he wants to kill, steal, and destroy. If you get caught in that trap and you get killed out there biting the hook, then guess what? You got to come back and do this again. Just like the movie Edge of Tomorrow. 11th house, ruled by Aquarius, okay? Y'all, these signs up here are telling you too, by the way. These little things are the signs that tells you the sign that's the ruler of that house. 11th house, group involvement, clubs, collective endeavors, friendships, humanitarian ideals, global awareness, okay? If your Saturn is in the 11th house, you may have a desire to be humanitarian, but you're restricted in that area. You're stopped from doing that. So what's the enemy going to do? He's going to attack you in that area. He's going to attack you where it hurts. It's going to attack you where it hurts. Okay. What's that going to look like? Nah, that one's a little bit tougher. That one's a little bit tougher. Um, that's a little bit tougher. Uh, that one's a little bit tougher because how's the enemy going to attack you in that one? You really want to go and look at what sign you have in your 11th house and see what that attack is going to look like. Okay. But if you're being restricted from humanitarianism, that may like the ninth house keep your plane grounded, so to speak. Keep your plane grounded. Keep you listen. You could that restriction could come in the form of jail time. You never know. Who knows what is going to restrict you from being that humanitarian that you want. It could be career. It could be family. You could end up in a cult. Anything that would restrict you from doing humanitarian work. But guess what? When you look at what the sign is for your Saturn, that is the energy that you use to escape that karmic loop and illustrate that you have learned that lesson and you've now mastered that area where your greatest challenge was. Okay. And finally, in the 12th house, this one is interesting. Okay. This one's interesting because a lot of astrologers look at the 12th house differently. It says here service to humanity, which is kind of the 11th house as well, self-transcendence, self-sacrifice, retreats from the world, unacknowledged or repressed parts of oneself. I like to call 12th house the house of higher self. Also like to call the 12th house the house of your connection to the ancestral realm. I like to call the 12th house the house that is your connection to the spirit realm. Why? The 12th house is ruled by Pisces, okay, which is ruled by Neptune, the planet of dreams, the dream space, the ether even. So if your Saturn is in the 12th house, how's the enemy going to show up? The 12th house is also the house of the subconscious. So if your Saturn is in the 12th house, one of the ways the enemy could attack you is through escapism. Escapism. Oh man, let me give you something to get you out of your head. Let me give you something to get you out of your mind. I happen to know, I'm going to say at least, so I'm not giving anything away. I happen to know at least one person that has, and it's not me. For those of y'all that might be thinking, I told you I'm not going to tell you what my Saturn house is, but it's not the 12th house. Let me say that. But I do happen to know a person who has their Saturn in the 12th house, and that's exactly how it came across. Their challenge, their temptation was escape from their mind, because the 12th house is the house of the subconscious. It's the house of deep thought. It's the house of connection to the spirit realm. This is somebody that's supposed to be overcoming that so they can do something powerfully spiritual, but they end up trying to escape because they're being restricted. They can't get out of their head. So what do? Drugs, alcohol. It could be a lot of men that can't get out of their heads. It shows up in through sexual promiscuity. So anything that is a form of escapism, that is how the enemy's going to show up for somebody with the Saturn in the 12th house. Okay. Now let me take a pause and just see if I have any questions before I resume here. Let me look. Anya's intuitive said I need to save this chart. Angel Stevens said, glad I made this live. Thank you. Even though I don't quite understand astrology. Angel, it starts with learning your birth chart. You only thing you need for your birth chart, and I've got in the description box for this particular video a link to a birth chart calculator. It's a free one. You just go there. It's basic. It's got some great descriptions that'll give you some breakdowns that some of them may be accurate. Some of them may not necessarily apply. Some of the things in the description could have applied earlier in life and they no longer apply because you've overcome them or whatever. Or maybe you haven't seen them yet, whatever. I can now just look at the sign and the house placement. I don't need the descriptions because I've studied astrology enough to kind of know what the general things are. And then some of it comes through intuition. So once you understand it, if you're intuitive, then you get the answers that you need intuitively from the spirit realm, your higher self, aka whatever you want to plug in there. But it starts with understanding your birth chart there, Angel. So make sure that you click that link in the description box to Cafe Astrology and put in your birth date, your date of birth. The time you were born is important and the city you were born in. If you do not know the time you were born, you are not going to know your house placement, and that house placement is critical. It is critical. Without the house placement, that is like saying Matt lives in America, but I'm not telling you what state, city or street. That house placement zones in on everything about you. You got to know that house placement, and the only way to know it is to know what time you were born. Otherwise, your birth chart's is incomplete. So Once you know your birth chart, then you can start to look these things up. And then you can look, there's some videos that'll give you descriptions of these different energies, that sort of thing. That's the long road. You can take the short road by looking for somebody to give you a birth chart reading and going through it and explaining that stuff to you. Okay. So anyway, Anya said I need to save this chart. Definitely, definitely. Anya, I got you. I got you. So don't worry about it. Yeah, Anya, my girl. That's my homie from way back. That's my homie from other lifetimes. Okay. It's my soul sister. All right. So I got you, Anya. I'm on me. Isolation. It's very difficult to make friends. I have none. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Prairie. I'm on me. Praise. Prayer, you're not alone either. I got you. 11th house Saturn is no joke. Wow. Wow. Let's see. So the signs on the top of the houses mean what? Tor girl, though, the signs that you see at the top of those houses, that is the sign that rules over that house. So you got your houses. Your houses are ruled by signs, and the signs are ruled by planets. Okay. And then the planets are ruled by the Most High, aka the universal I Am presence. Y'all have heard me read that passage of scripture from the book of Jeremiah, the 31st chapter, where he's telling you about the sun, moon, and the ordinances of the stars. Okay. These are the energies that he used to control and govern over the affairs of mankind on this earth. So you got the houses. The houses rule over your everyday life. The houses are ruled by the signs. The signs are ruled by the planets, and the Most High is the governor of them all. That's why in some texts he's called the Lord of Hosts, heavenly hosts. Okay, he rules over these energies. These are energies, y'all. Okay. Rare Jewel says, "Good info. Thank you. You're welcome, Angel. And yes, you are welcome." Okay, so I'm caught up on the comments there. Let me get on to the next phase now, y'all. So, let's see now. Oh, come on now, don't play with me. Where are my notes? There we go. Okay. Saturn house. Okay. Did I go all the way back to the top here? I did. Let me go back down. Just 1 second. How do you resist the devil and get him to flee? How do you defeat him? First, know thyself. I did that part. Remember, your enemy knows you. Okay, did that part. Next, how your enemy, aka the enemy of your soul, is going to show up. Whatever house you have Saturn in, look at the house's list and see what sign resides in that house. Okay, go through the signs. All right. So, this is good. All right, let me go back through these houses again, y'all. Let me show y'all what it's going to look like now. Okay, so if the sign that I'm sorry, let me go through these signs. Let's do it like this. All right, and it's just going to be quick. I'm not going to spend a lot of time. As you can see, Aries is the ruler of the first house. Okay, so if the sign that you have sitting in the house, that's how I'll do it. If the sign that you have sitting in the house that your Saturn is in is Aries, then that devil's going to show up as someone or a situation, because it all doesn't always have to be a person. It could be a situation. It's going to show up as someone or a situation that is bold, daring, fiery, passionate. That's Aries energy. Aries energy is like, you know what? Let's go now. We'll figure it out on the way. We'll figure it out. We'll make it up as we go along, or let's just go. Go, 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 go. Aries is the ram. When you see that mountain ram, not to be confused with the mountain goat. That's Capricorn. When you see that mountain ram, what's he doing? He's lowering that head and running in there. Boom. Aries is the warrior. What's the ruling planet for Aries? Mars. So it could show up as someone. If the sign that if the house that you have, Aries. I'm sorry. If the house that you have your Saturn sitting in is in the sign of Aries, yes. If the house that you have your Saturn sitting in has Aries sitting in it, then that's going to show up as someone who's very passionate. It could show up as someone who's very aggressive, overly assertive to the point of being aggressive. Okay. If the house that you have your Saturn sitting in your house list has Taurus sitting in it, it could show up as someone who is very, very beautiful to the eye. It could show up as someone or something that is very pleasing to the eye. Taurus is ruled by Venus. So Venus is about allure. Okay. Taurus is an earth sign. Venus rules over two signs. It rules over Taurus and Libra. I'll get to the Libra. Libra is an air sign. Taurus is an earth sign. Taurus is about material possessions. Libra is about thought, intellectual, visual stimulation, that sort of thing. Anything that's airy, anything that you cannot touch. that's going to be Venus on the Libra side. Venus on the Taurus side is going to be things that you can touch, tangible things. So that might show up as somebody that somebody or something that's got a lot of money. Let's use people. It could show up as somebody that's got money. It could show up as somebody that has the illusion of having money. It could show up as fellas. It could show up as a woman who's very beautiful. Whatever you like, that's what she's gonna look like. She's gonna like fellas. She might have the, if you like the hair, you like the badonk, whatever you like. That's how she's gonna show up. Or it could show up as somebody who, like, depending on what that Saturn sign is and house is, it could show up if Taurus is sitting in that house, in the house list, then it could show up as another dude to be like, yo, man, let me show you how you can get this car, this private plane, whatever. That's how that devil's going to show up. It's going to show up as something that has to do with materials. Okay. It could show up as something that has to do with materials, but think about it. Now, you got to think about the low. If it's the devil, it's going to be the low vibrational aspect. It's not going to be the high vibrational aspect. So what you could find out with Aries is, now Aries is very loving on the high vibrational side, but on the low vibrational side, it's got anger management issues. A high vibrational Aries knows how to channel that aggression and do something productive with it. The low vibrational Aries is going to be destructive because the energy is Mars. If that house has Taurus sitting in it, on the high vibrational side, that person is going to be somebody that holds you down. But if we talk about what that devil's going to look like, it's going to be somebody that takes from you, somebody that uses you. Instead of giving you materials, they take away from you. They'll appear first as somebody that's going to give you everything that you want on the material side, but then you find that they begin siphoning energy from you. Before you know it, you're drained. Okay, high vibrational Taurus is about self-care. Now, some people think that's selfish, but it's really about, they know how to take care of themselves. But a low vibrational Taurus is going to take away from you. They're going to use you for their self-care. So it could be somebody who ends up leaving you drained. If that sign that you have your Saturn sitting in, if that house that you have that Saturn sitting in is has Gemini in it, that's going to be somebody that's going to be a fast talker. They're going to always try to show you a shortcut. It's going to be, they could be argumentative. It's the low vibrational aspect of it. Okay. If it's got Cancer sitting in it, Cancer is supposed to be the sign of someone who's nurturing. They may give the appearance of being nurturing at first. They could give the appearance of being somebody who wants to be your family, but they end up taking away from you. They end up becoming possessive over you. Like, nah, you ain't going, no, that kind of thing. Okay. If that sign has Leo sitting in it, Leo, the ruling planet, is the sun. More on that third house. I'm sorry, Gemini is going to be, they're going to be somebody who's very talkative. They're going to be very talkative, or they're going to be very talkative in a low vibrational way, or they're going to ghost you and not talk to you at all. Not talk to you at all. Why? Because the ruling planet is Mercury. Mercury is the planet of communication. If that house that your Saturn is sitting in has Cancer sitting in it, Cancer is ruled by what? The moon. So this person's going to be emotional. They're going to be needy. They might come across as somebody that's going to be like home for you, but then in short order, remember, the devil does everything he does is fast. It ain't never slow moving. Remember, Saturn is about taking your time and learning your lessons. The devil's going to try to give you a shortcut. If your mom said clean your room up, make sure it's spotless, well, what that devil going to do? He's going to say, man, look here, it's going to take you all day. And your friends down the street, they want to play. Just go take all your dirty clothes and throw them under the bed, and then tell your mom you cleaned everything up. Just take everything and shove it under the bed. What you think is going to happen when your mom come in there and see that stuff under that bed, and she told you what to do and you didn't do it? You took the shortcut. Now it's going to take you that much longer to get the things in order that you would have gotten in order had you taken your time the first time. That's how that happens. So with that, with Cancer being a sign that's sitting in that house, then that person's going to be emotionally needy. They're going to drain you emotionally. Okay. They're going to come across at first as somebody that's going to be an emotional support system for you, but in rapid fashion, you're going to see it turn, because the devil, all you got to do is watch him. He turns quick. He turns quick. He don't never, the devil ain't got time. He ain't got time. Saturn ain't got nothing but time. Okay. The devil ain't got time, because he knows his time is short. So he's always trying to take you down so he can move on to the next person to take down and keep everybody in the karmic loop. That's how it works. Now, fifth, if it's Leo energy, we know Leo is a sign of strength. It's a sign of somebody that's helpful. They're going to help you. That Leo is they have a sunny disposition, whatever. Well, guess what? If that sign, if Leo is sitting in that house with Saturn is, that person maybe it's going to be the opposite. They got dark energy. They're draining. Instead of being a light in your life, they're a point of darkness in your life. Instead of being strength, somebody who's there to help you carry the load, they're going to put a heavier load on you. It always starts out looking like the right thing, but it quickly turns. It quickly turns. So you have to look at the sign that is in the house that Saturn is in, because it's going to show you how that devil's going to appear. It's going to show you how that devil's going to appear. Okay. All right. Next, if Virgo's in that house, then Virgo, again ruled by Mercury, is going to be someone that is analytical, but they could use that analytics against you. They could always be harshly before they're always on you. They're always on you. Not now Virgo, not to be mistaken, because Virgo is a sign. Virgos, listen, a high vibrational Virgo will put their foot in your ass, okay? But they're doing it to help you. Now, if that sign in there is low vibrational, then guess what? They're going to be doing it to tear you down. They're going to be doing it to tear you. Virgo is a sign of service, but guess what? If Virgo is sitting in that house where Saturn is in, then what that devil is coming to attack you is going to look like. It's going to look like somebody that's helping you, but then they're taking away from you. They're helping themselves of you, or they're helping you help them. They're helping you help them. Okay. It's a sign of health too. So it could be somebody that is actually taking your health away from you. Yo, come get this drink right here. Now, I know I talked about escapism, but again, you got to look. The devil is always a study of opposites. If God is high vibrational, if he's up in them higher realms on that emotional frequency scale, I always show you, the opposite is always the devil, the low vibrational stuff. So if Virgo is a sign of health, then if Virgo is sitting in that house, watch it, because that devil that comes in to attack you and to tear you down is going to be someone that's presenting things that take away your health. Okay. Instead of helping you with routines, you're getting more and more unorganized dealing with that energy. Now, if that energy is a Libra, we know high vibrational Libra is about righteousness. It's about fairness. It's about honesty, that sort of thing. Now, we know that Libra is the sign of beauty too. So they're gonna look beautiful. They're gonna look beautiful. If they're Virgo, they're gonna have great conversation. Okay. If they're Leo, they're gonna be very extroverted, life of the party. Okay. If they're Cancer, they're gonna come across as somebody that wants to make you feel like you're at home, but they're gonna become possessive. Okay. If they're Gemini, if Gemini is sitting there, then it's gonna be somebody who's very talkative, that wants to show you things that maybe, hey, I'm gonna teach you how to learn, blah, 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 blah. Okay. And so on and so forth. I did Taurus ad nauseum. I did Aries ad nauseum. Let me jump back forward now. Okay. Libra. If they're Libra's a sign of beauty. So they're going to be beautiful. That packaging is going to be beautiful. But instead of you getting the high vibrational energy of Libra, where they're helping you to balance things out in your life, helping you to harmonize things, partnering with you, that partnership is going to be one-sided, tilted toward them. Their scales aren't going to be balanced. It's going to be one-sided, tilted toward them. Even though they look beautiful, guess what? Even though that packaging is beautiful, even though they might have a beautiful voice, they might be very alluring, guess what? They are going to make you miserable. Now, remember, Taurus and Libra are both ruled by Venus. So they're going to have a very Venusian appearance, just like it was in Taurus. Okay? Excuse me. But the difference is, you're going to see the low vibrational aspect of Libra. Instead of them being in an energy of truth, they're going to lie a lot. They're going to lie. That is the low vibrational. That's one of the most low vibrational things with Libra. You're going to see more of that Aries energy. They could be passive aggressive. Low vibrational Libra energy is passive aggressive. Yeah, they're pretty. They're ladies, they're handsome. Fellas, they're pretty, but they're going to be passive aggressive. Okay. They're going to take life out of you instead of giving it to you. Okay. All right. They're going to lie. They're going to lie a lot. Everything's a lie. Man, that ain't what it was. A girl, that wasn't what it was, girl. It could be friendships. That's the sign of partnership. So it don't have to be a romantic interest. It could be a person that you thought was your friend. Well, she dressed nice. We go shopping. She helped me, pick out nice stuff. That's more on the Taurus side. But we have beautiful conversations and everything like that. But you listen long enough and you start seeing that those conversations lack truth and honesty. Okay. They lack balance. It's always me, instead of us, or what can I do for you? It's me. It always shows up. All right. If that sign sitting in that sign, if that sign sitting in that house where your Saturn is Scorpio, guess what? They're gonna be sexy as I don't know what. Okay. They're gonna look very alluring. All right. They're gonna give the appearance of being someone that can help you change, transform yourself, but the packaging is gonna be rotten. The packaging is gonna be rotten. They could come with something that you got to go to the clinic for. Okay. All right. That's just another example. You're gonna see the devil always gives you the packaging. What's inside of it though? Okay. What's inside of it? Low vibrational Scorpio, they could be vindictive. They could be vindictive. The packaging could be nice, but you find out when you're dealing with them is that they're vindictive. What are they doing? They're leaving you in low vibrational energy. Because remember, the devil wants to attack you in that house where Saturn is. But if you want to know what that house where Saturn is the area of your life where you're going to be attacked. That sign that's sitting in that house that Saturn's in is what that packaging or what that devil's going to look like. Sagittarius, they could come across as being wise. They could talk a good game. They could come across as being wise. They could have real big energy. Saturn's ruled by Jupiter. So the energy, the aura is always big. The aura is always big with Sagittarius. I think I said Saturn. I meant Sagittarius. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. So the energy of this person is going to be big. All right. They could talk a good game. They could come across as wise. But guess what? You're going to find out that on the low vibrational side, they don't stick around. They don't stick around. When you need them, they ain't there all of a sudden. They ain't there all of a sudden. They leave you by yourself. Now they've moved on to the next thing. I ain't got time. I ain't got time for you. Sagittarius moves from one thing to the next, but that high vibrational is, hey, you know what? Let me go over here next and see what this thing is so I can help you with something new. All the high vibrational Sagittarius I know, they are smart as I don't know what. They know a lot of stuff, and they go out and gain this wisdom, and they share things with you that you didn't even know on the high vibrational side. Okay? But the low vibrational is going to look the opposite of that. They may siphon information from you and not give back. No equal give and take. Okay? If that sign sitting there is Capricorn, Capricorn is a sign of hard work. Okay? It's a sign of structure and order. Okay? It's the sign of the achiever. But what you can find out if they're low vibrational is that, or that devil, if that sign that's sitting in that house where Saturn is Capricorn, that person may be a user. Okay, they may be manipulative. They may be so now Capricorn is a moody sign. They can be moody. I know I'm a Capricorn. Capricorns can be moody, but a high vibrational Capricorn, they don't want to burden you with what is bothering them. They'll go after themselves. People who love Capricorn, they can typically tell when Capricorn got something going on because that Capricorn just like, hey, look, let me go over here till I work this out. But that low vibrational Capricorn, they're gonna dump that on you. They're gonna come and they're gonna leave it with you, and every time something's always wrong, or they're using you to get to where they're trying to get. They're not giving you anything, but they're using you to get to where they're trying to get. I've seen that. I've seen that with some 10th house Capricorns. I've seen that. I've seen the high side and the low side of Capricorn. If that sign that is sitting in that house where Saturn is, or if that sign that's sitting in that house where Saturn is Capricorn, then one of the key ways that particular enemy is going to show up is someone who uses you to climb. Now, a high vibrational Cap, they're gonna get it on their own. I'm here to tell you. Most Capricorns ain't gonna ask for help. You got to tackle them to help them. Most high vibe Caps, you got to tackle them to help them. Okay, but a low vibe Cap, they're manipulative and they use people to get to where they're trying to go. All right. If that sign is Aquarius, okay, if that sign is Aquarius is a sign of the humanitarian. So they may come off as somebody that talks a good game about being a person of the people, but you find out that they're actually about themselves, and they're being selfish. And again, it's also ruled by Saturn, so they may be manipulative and be a user as well, using you. They may come across as someone who's knowledgeable, humanitarian, altruistic, but you find out Aquarius energy high vibe is selfless. You find out that enemy, even though they come across as selfless, you find out that they're actually selfish. So they too are like a user. Okay. And last but not least, if that sign is Pisces, what's the ruling planet for Pisces? Oh, I forgot to talk about the ruling planet that'll help you know this too. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. Okay, that's the primary energy. Uranus is a sign of the rebel. So in time, you're gonna find that person's rebelling and bucking against you and giving you the biggest headache you've ever had. Okay, giving you the biggest headache that you've ever had. Now, if that sign is Aquarius, is Pisces, this is the last one, and we're gonna get to the examples. If that sign is Pisces that's sitting in that house, then guess what? That person is going to Pisces is ruled by Neptune. Neptune is the planet of dreams, illusions, that sort of thing. So that person may come across as a person with big ideas. They're an ideas person. They got, hey, I can help you with this. Hey, this is an idea I got that you can do this, but you find out that those ideas don't hold water, or you find out that now Pisces shares an axis with Virgo. Virgo is the sign of the servant. They love to help. Guess what? A lot of Pisces like to help too, because every Pisces got a little Virgo in them. But if they're low vibrational, that devil may come across as trying to help you, but you find out that they're actually in it for self. And that you find out that they're lying. Why? Because the low vibrational nature of Pisces is to give you an illusion. It's to sell you on something that isn't real. So if that sign that Saturn is if that sign is sitting in the house that Saturn is in is Pisces, that's what you're going to find. You're going to find that, hey, they may come across as someone who's a giver up front, but why are you giving this to me? They don't tell you why they're giving. They're giving, but they're keeping tabs. Now, high vibrational Pisces, they lose track of what they've given to people. You got to tell them to stop giving. I got a brother who's a Pisces. He's always giving me something. He gives to everybody in the family. We'd be like, bro, I don't need this. But you don't want to hurt their feelings because they're Pisces and Pisces are sensitive. You know, it's a water sign, so they get a little emotional. But a low vibrational devil energy Pisces, when they're giving because they're trying to set you up. They're greasing the skids for something, but they haven't let you in on it. Okay. And low vibrationally, they'll lie too. They will lie big time. So that was it. I'm gonna take this houses thing off the screen. I'm gonna read some questions. Let me check my notes. She said, what if a planet is in the house, not a sign? Tora girl, I'm not sure I understand that. What if a planet is in every planet is in a house? Every planet is in some house and a sign. You got your sun is in a sign in a house. Your moon is in a sign in a house. Every planet is in a sign in a house. Now, what you could be saying is what if you've got there's this thing called empty houses where you got no planets in a certain house, because some people have like 3 or 4 or 5 planets in the same house. And then but you look like, for example, with me, I don't have any planets in the 11th house. It's just one example. I don't think I have any planets in the 11th house in my chart. Let me look. My chart's right here. I'm not going to put it up on the screen, but let me look. Let's see. Okay, if this is what you're talking about, I've got no planets in I got no planets in the 4th house. Okay, so that is what's known in astrology as an empty house. If I don't have any planets in the 4th house, what that means is that's not an area of my life that I needed to develop. So any empty houses, meaning you don't have any planets in those houses, that just simply means that is not an area that you needed to come to this life to work on. That's all an empty house means. If you got a planet in a house, that's an area of your life that you came here to work on, using that particular energy or specific to that particular energy. Okay, let's see. Where am I? Alrighty. Okay, so she said exactly. Okay, cool. So that tells me I answered your question. So now here comes the part. Let me check my notes to make sure I didn't leave anything out. I did leave something out. Okay. Yeah, I did leave something out. I'm glad I went back to my notes. Now this says this next part is a shocker. Okay. This says shocker, and it says read 1 Corinthians 10 and 13. We building tonight, y'all. We building. 1 Corinthians 10 and 13. Some of y'all know this by heart. 1 Corinthians 10 and 13. I told you all the time, the Bible is a spiritual book. It is not a religious book, okay? The religious establishment hijacked it and flipped it into the doctrine of control, but it was never intended to be that. Okay? Let's share this. Some of y'all know this particular passage of scripture. 1 Corinthians 10 and 13. There have no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man. I love this. I had to read this in a play one year. I was in a gospel play one year, many years ago. I was in a gospel play, but that was one of my lines. Okay, I had to read that. There had no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man. But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, or what you are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that you may be able to bear it. So this basically says God is not going to put more on you than you can handle. With any temptation, your Saturn, he'll provide a way to escape that you might be able to bear it, okay? So your way of escape is your greatest help. Your way of escape is your greatest help. I see your thing there, Tora girl. I'm gonna come back to that. I have Venus in my house. I'm not sure what house that is, but I'm gonna come back to that. Okay, and it looks like my connection is tricking again, but that's okay. That's okay. It's good. It's coming back up already. Good. So your greatest help is your way of escape. There's no temptation taking you, but such as is common to man. But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above what you're able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that you might be able to bear it. What's that way of escape? Okay. All right. All right. So that way of escape always appears in the same general energy as the devil. So I just spent probably the last 15 minutes telling you guys that if you want to know how that devil's going to appear in your life, look at the sign that is sitting in the house that your Saturn is in, and that's how that devil's going to appear. Guess what? Your angel's going to appear in that same energy. So your help is going to appear in that same energy. So you actually have two ways to help you in get through that particular or deal with that temptation and get through that karmic lesson. God is faithful. It said it right there in the scripture. He'll always provide a way to escape that you might be able to bear it. The first way I talked about earlier, it is to look at the sign that is your Saturn sign. That's the energy you're supposed to be using to illustrate that you have learned that lesson, that you've dealt with that area of life that is the house that Saturn sits in. So what is the sign? The sign is energy number one. That's the energy that you're supposed to be using. But guess what? When the Most High sends help your way, he sends that help in a similar appearance to, so that help comes in just like that quote unquote devil energy shows up. Like I said, the devil attacks your weakness. What is your weakness? It is your sign. I'm sorry. It is the house that your Saturn sits in. And to know how that devil's going to show up, look at the sign that is in the house that Saturn sits in. Guess what? Your help, aka your angel, is sitting in that same house. It's sitting in that same house. I mean, so if the sign that is in the house that your Saturn is in is Taurus, that devil's going to show up looking like in Venusian energy with materials, but that angel's going to show up, or that help's going to show up in Venusian energy with materials. The same way. Here's how you're going to know the difference, though. One of them is going to be let's take our time. The other one is going to want to move fast. That's how you know the difference. And why is it like that? Why is it like that? It's because, and y'all go and watch that video I'll put in the link in the description box. Did the devil make you do it, or was it you? It's about a 15-16 minute video that I did about two and a half years ago. It is so important for you to watch that video, because the premise of that video is the devil didn't make you do it. It was you. It was you. But in it, I gave a couple of examples. One of the primary examples I gave was the old Flintstones cartoons, where when Fred was faced with a decision that he had to make, you know, a dichotomy, some decision he had to make. Do I go this way? Do I go that way? What's the right thing versus the wrong thing to do? The angel on the right shoulder was Fred. The devil on the left shoulder was Fred. It was the same. It was the same appearance. It was Fred, but one of them is dressed like an angel, had white on with wings. The other one had red on, and it had a tail, a fork, and a pitchfork. It had a dragon tail and a pitchfork. But both of them were the image of Fred. So in that same token, the help and the distraction often look similar. But the way you know the difference is one is high vibrational. How do you feel when you're around that particular energy that shows up in your life? How do you feel? How does that energy make you feel? How does that energy make you feel? That's for you to answer. And which one is rushing you into something versus which one is trying to move through that energy with you? Hey, let's work through this. This is how you can do this. You can get through this. I've been there. I was there too. You can get through this. Let's go through it together. Or if you don't want to go through it together, here's the information. You want to do it on your own. Hit me up if you need some help with it. That is the difference. That's the difference. So you have to watch, because that help will show up in the same house that the hindrance will show up. It's going to show up looking in similar packaging, but you have to use discernment to know the difference. Okay? You have to use discernment to know the difference. So the help always appears in the same general energy as that devil energy. Look again at what you have in the house that your Saturn is in. It's like a multiple choice question on a test or exam. See, I'm glad I wrote this. It's like a multiple choice question on a test or an exam. When you're taking a multiple choice exam or something like that, you typically, if there's an A, B, C, and D, two of those you can already scratch off. These answers, no, that's definitely not it. When you don't know the answer, two of them you already know these are ridiculous. I know this ain't it. But guess what? It's going to be two answers there that could be the right answer. There's two answers there that look like they could be the right answer, but only one of them is correct. How do you know? You got to compare what is high vibrational versus what is low vibrational. What is the high vibrational aspects of the sign that's in that house? And what are the low vibrational aspects of the sign that's in that house? When you know the difference between the high vibrational energy of that sign and the low vibrational energy of that sign, you'll be able to discern which one of those energies showed up is the help versus which one is the hindrance. All right. All right. And I have here also, and even greater, go back to your knowledge of Saturn energy. The wrong answer will always present as quick and easy. The right answer will always require your patience and dedicated effort. Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn. Capricorn is a sign of slow, steady progress, hard work, climbing. So the wrong answer will always present as a quick and easy solution. The right answer will always require your patience, not mine, yours. The right answer will always require your patience and your dedicated effort. Last but not least, what is your Saturn sign? Your Saturn sign is the energy that you are going to have to employ to resist that devil and get him to flee from you. I talked about that earlier. Just know that because we're talking about Saturn, you're going to have to take your time to make certain that you learn and master how to apply that energy to that area of life represented by the house that your Saturn is in. Okay? That's it for my notes. I'm going to give you 6 key takeaways, and then I'm going to help 4 people that came here with she said awesome answer, awesome explanation, man. Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. That scripture was awesome. It gave me good vibes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. So, I'm going to give you guys 6 key takeaways. This is summary time, and then I'm going to help 4 people. All right? Takeaway number 1. The enemy of the soul attacks you in the area of your biggest struggle. The enemy of your soul attacks you in the area of your biggest struggle. What is that? That's the house that your Saturn's in. His goal is to knock you off your destiny and keep you in that karmic loop, lifetime after lifetime. I know a friend who knows a friend that has their Saturn in the second house. That friend of a friend whose Saturn is in the second house has had money issues for a very long time. That friend of the friend appears to remain in a karmic loop because they're always looking at what is the easiest way for me to get my hands on some money or my hands on security. Taurus is a sign of stability and security too. So what is the quickest way for me to get stability? What's the quickest way for me to get to where I don't have to worry about where my next meal's coming from? I don't have to worry about how I'm gonna have a roof over my head. What's the quickest way for me to get to that? The enemy shows up and provides a solution. And when that friend of that friend gets in that particular, that what looked like a solution that didn't require any effort from their behalf, on their behalf, then they find out later they're not happy. This isn't what I wanted. I got to get up out of this. But you didn't learn your lesson, so guess what? That same enemy shows up in a different form, a different packaging, offering you that same rapid solution. And that is the karmic loop that this friend of the friend continues to stay in, because they have not learned how to utilize the energy that is their Saturn sign to overcome that obstacle. And perhaps they had help that showed up in the house or help that showed up in the energy that sits in the house that Saturn sign is sitting in. And they said, this one over here, this gonna get me there quicker. You got to be willing to put that work in. You got to be willing to clean your room. You're not getting them cookies till you clean your room. And your mama, guess what? Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. If you try to get slick and call somebody and say, yo, man, come up to my window real quick and throw that bag of cookies up here. Guess what? God always sends somebody be like, hey, what you doing down there? Hey, Miss Mary, there's some little boy up here trying to throw cookies up to your son in the window. What? Now you got a whooping and you still ain't got no cookies and you still got to clean your room. So ain't no easy way out. You got to put that work in. You got to put that work in. If you think you're going to call in a rapid solution, God will block it every time. But is he blocking it for your bad? Is he blocking it for your good? He's blocking it because he knows the enemy wants to kill, steal, and destroy you. But he's also blocking it because you have a limited amount of time in this vehicle and you got to do. So he's like, nope, I'm not going to allow these distractions. Nope. You're going to do this. You're going to do this work. Okay. So 1A, the enemy of your soul attacks you in the area of your biggest struggle. 1B, his goal is to knock you off your destiny and keep you in the karmic loop lifetime after lifetime. Second takeaway, he presents as a quick and easy way out of your struggles. Third takeaway, your biggest help will often look like that devil on the outside. The difference is the energy. So the devil and the help oftentimes look the same on the outside. Remember, if it's that second house, what do you have sitting in that second house? If you got Libra sitting in that second house, guess what? That person, the help and the hindrance are both going to be beautiful. They both are going to have alluring voices. They're both going to have alluring conversation. But one of them, look at which one is trying to move you fast versus the one that is requiring you to do the work, but there to help you, there to be a guide, there to be an assistant to you doing the work, not doing the work for you, because they're really not going to do it for you, okay? That hindrance shows up to serve themselves. That help shows up to serve you. Okay? Your biggest help will often look like that devil on the outside. The difference is the energy. One is high vibe, the other is low. Know the difference. Number 4 takeaway. The help is there to serve you. That devil is there to serve themselves of you. Okay? All right? Use discernment. Takeaway number 5. Learn how to go within and study. Study, okay? Learn how to go within and focus the energy that is your Saturn sign into the house where your natal Saturn resides. Let me read that again. Learn how to go within and focus the energy that is your Saturn sign into the house where your natal Saturn resides. Learn how to use that energy and focus it in that area of life. Remember the school example I gave you? Don't not study, and then when it's time for the test, you're trying to cheat off somebody else's paper. Study. Do your homework. Use the energy that's that sign. And last but not least, takeaway number 6, do not rush, because Saturn doesn't. Saturn does not rush. Okay? That's all I got from my notes. That's all I got from the presentation. So I'm going to take a little bit of time here before I wrap up and ask anybody who knows, and I don't want you to don't put if you don't know your stuff, do not put your date of birth, time of birth, city of birth. Don't put that in the comments. Don't. Um, because I don't want you to, I mean, some of you, especially those of you that are using what appears to be a government name, I don't want, somebody to put that in there. But now, if you do know your sign, your Saturn sign, and the Saturn house, and you know your birth chart, you know what your house system is, you know what sign you have sitting in your houses. For example, y'all hear me say this all the time. I'm a Libra rising. Okay. So if my Saturn is in the second house, which it isn't, but I'm just using that for an example. I'm a Libra rising. So if my Saturn is in the second house, then the sign that I have sitting in the second house is Scorpio. Okay. Is Scorpio. So if my Saturn is sitting in the second house, that means that my distraction is going to come in scorpionic energy, but my help is also going to come in scorpionic energy. So I got to know the difference. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. So if you know what your Saturn sign is and what house your Saturn is in, then and you want some advice, drop it in the comments. I'm gonna help 4 people. And before I get off of here tonight, I said this in the community post. I'm giving away 1 copy of my award-winning book, From Fear to Faith: A Survivor Story, on paperback. And if there's enough interest, and this is only for the live, so if you're watching this on demand, don't leave anything in the comments because I'm only doing this for the people on the live. All right. So if you're a reader and you're interested in having a copy, just throw a hand waving sign in the chat there, and I'll write your name down, and then I'll just do I got a random drawing app here on my phone. I can write down. I can do a random number, and then you guys once I tell you who the winner is, you can go to my about tab or my profile on YouTube and send me an email, and just email me your mailing address and just your name and mailing address, and I will send that. Okay, I got you, hot shot. Okay, that's number 1. Okay. Anybody else? And once I choose a winner, then just email me. Go to my or I'll put my email in the chat here for you guys. It's in my about tab, but I'll put it in the chat too. Okay. Yeah. So just send me if I choose you, send me your mailing address, and I'll send you an autographed copy of my book as an appreciation, because you guys are always here. You're faithful. You show up every time, and it means the world to me. So thank you. Okay. All right. So anybody? Okay. So Rare Jewel said your Saturn is in the 11th house. Okay. Let me write Rare Jewel down. Now, Rare Jewel, what is the sign? What's your Saturn sign? You got Saturn in the 11th, but what is the sign? Toro girl, I got you, Toro girl. Anya, I got you. Okay, Virgo. So Rare Jewel, your Saturn is in Virgo in the 11th house. Okay. Okay. Now go over Rare Jewel. Go to your house placement system, or your. I'm assuming it's Placidus. That's the one I use. Some people use whole sign. I don't use whole sign. I'm a Placidus guy. I like the granularity of the Placidus system. So tell me what sign now you have sitting in the 11th house on your chart there. Tell me what sign you have sitting in the 11th house. It's probably going to be Virgo as well, but it could be. Sometimes it's something else. So just let me know if there's a different sign that you have sitting in the 11th house. Typically speaking, it's going to be the same sign that planet is in, but sometimes it's different because sometimes it's on the cusp or whatever. So tell me what sign you have in the 11th house now. I got the Saturn's in Virgo in the 11th. Tell me what sign you have in the 11th house. All right, let me make sure I got okay. Gene. Oh, and let me say this too. I probably should have said this up front. Okay, so it's Virgo as well. Good. Okay. So All right. So, Rare Jewel, give me 1 second. Let me address this. If you are not in the United States, then I'm sorry, but that doesn't qualify you. I mean, I don't want to ship. I've done overseas shipping before, and it's expensive. So yeah. So Gene, I see you got your hand up. If you're in the United States, that's cool. So cool. I got you, Gene. Okay. And I'm probably going to do this the next live as well. I'll give away just one of my books, and I also have these available on what do you call it? Apple iBooks as well. So if you prefer it in ebook format, some people don't like paperback. If you prefer ebook, I can I do giveaways in Apple iBooks. I've got codes for those. But anyway, this is a paperback. If you decide you want it in ebook format, when I email you, just let me know. Now, okay, so Rare Jewel, let's talk. You got your Saturn is in Virgo in the 11th house. So what that tells me is that the you'd be restricted in the area of perhaps being bold enough to be revolutionary in the to be bold enough to be revolutionary, to be bold enough to change, to be a revolutionary for being altruistic, for helping others. That tells me that in that Aquarius energy, that 11th house is ruled by Aquarius, that can be tricky sometimes. But with your Saturn being in the 11th house, that tells me that you're restricted in the area of being able to perhaps help others. So what you can do with that is now how that devil is going to show up is he would show up in ways that would appear to give you a rapid solution to be you. That tells, especially with your Saturn being in Virgo in the 11th, that tells me that you have a heart for helping other people. That tells me you have a heart for helping other people. But the way that devil would show up in your life, that your biggest challenge, he's going to show up in hang on a second, my screen went off here. That devil is going to show up in your life by restricting, by making you maybe go out of your way to help others, to the point where you feel like you're being used up, to the point where you feel like you're being used up. And so any type of devil energy, whether it be a person or a system or a company, they're going to be a great communicator. There's somebody who's going to be very talkative. They're gonna talk a good game. They're gonna have you try to talk you into doing some things that maybe might stretch you, may not necessarily. Again, 11th house is the house of selflessness. It's about humanitarianism. It's about not, Leo. House 11 sits opposite of the 5th house, which is ruled by Leo. 11th house is ruled by Aquarius. The 5th house is ruled by Leo. So in the opposite energy is Leo is all eyes on me energy. It's about, hey, I'm here, I'm showing up, this is what I want to do. Aquarian energy more is like, this is what I want to do for you guys. I don't need to be in the spotlight. I want to do this for you guys. So let me help you. That is what 11th house energy is about. And by the way, I'm going to break the rules if these rules don't work for the greater good. If this is being restrictive to everyone. I know someone who works in real estate, and they have a lot of that 11th house energy as well, and Virgo energy as well. And this particular person, they do not like to see some of the disparity that we see in real estate. And even though that there was this Fair Housing Act of 1968 that said you cannot discriminate, we still see a lot of discrimination in real estate. We've seen it in lending. We've seen it in showing houses in certain neighborhoods, that sort of thing. So this person is like, you know what? I want to break down all of that and make sure that these neglected groups, or these challenged groups get access to fair housing. Okay, so that is what that example of that Virgo energy I want to serve, and I want to serve in a humanitarian aspect, looks like. Well, guess what? Because you have a heart for that, and because you're restricted in that until you learn that lesson, the thing that you got to do is you have got to use the analytical nature of Virgo to work through that. You have got to. Virgo energy is about organization. It's about analytics. It is also about health. So it could be that you're looking to help people in the area of health as well. There's any number of things there. So what you got to do there, Red Jewel, is you have to what is Virgo energy about? Virgo energy is about communication, because it is ruled by Mercury, which is the sign of communication, also the sign of learning. Virgos learn so that they can help others. Okay, so that is how you overcome that. And again, that 11th house energy is tricky sometimes. It's very tricky, because when you're talking about humanitarianism, that can be the devil that shows up there, can be very subtle, because it's less about you and more about helping others. But if Saturn is restricting you in 11th house, then it's like, okay, there's some lessons that you have to learn before we unlock this gift of being able to be of service to others. Okay, so I'm not sure if that helped. Again, the 11th house isn't my strongest area, but I do have a general knowledge and understanding of the 11th house. Let me know if that helps, or if you got another follow-up question to that, put that in the chat, because I want to work through this. My goal was to try to help 4 people identify what that area is in their life where they might be attacked. Okay, you said, yes, that's me exactly. I work with a women's organization, which is also a challenge dealing with women. My purpose is to serve. I'm also a Capricorn, so I'm gonna get it done. Cancer moon. Wow, we got that same. I'm a Capricorn, some of the Cancer moon as well. Wow, very nice. And that Cancer moon, actually, that's a gift too, because that's going to make you very intuitive, where you can feel other people's energy. I'm telling you that because first of all, Capricorn is a very intuitive sign too, but that Cancer moon is the most intuitive placement in the zodiac. Why? Because Cancer is ruled by the moon, and the moon is the ruler of emotions. So when you have Cancer in the moon, or your moon sign is Cancer, you can feel in ways that others cannot, and you cannot turn it off. So use that to your advantage. That actually is an added bonus. That's an added gift, because again, Virgo, it has a heart for service. Cancer energy is all about the heart and home. It's the ruler of the 4th house, which is ruled by the moon. So that is the ruler of the emotions. So you have an intuitive ability that not everybody has. That's a gift. So you can actually, that's a bonus tool in your tool belt. So my advice to you, definitely an empath. Okay, so use that to your advantage. You can. It is so wonderful that I'm talking to you, because I'm a Cancer moon as well, with a Capricorn sun. But use that to your advantage. So yeah, it says, which is my challenge, which I'm dealing with women. Remember, slow and steady wins the race. Red Jewel, slow and steady wins the race. So anything that's going to show up as a quick solution to helping you to get through the challenge of being of service to women, or whatever that area of your life is. It sounds like you got that honed in on that women's organization. Anybody that's coming with a quick solution to that, that's what that devil's going to look like. But the help always comes in the same package. So don't shun someone who is very organized, who is detail oriented, who is analytical, but wants to take their time. Don't shun them in exchange for someone who appears to be the same way, but are trying to get you there faster, because that could. And now again, I'm not sure what your age is, and you don't have to put that in the chat, but some things come with age. And if you're over 30, if you're somewhere in your 40s, maybe nearing 50 or whatever, I don't know what your age is, but you probably are getting now to where you're figuring it out. So that's the good thing. If you were like 18, 19, that could be more of a challenge, but I'm here to help. So that if anything, that can kind of give you a cheat code, if you will, but a high vibrational one. Remember what the low vibrational side of that so-called help might look like. They might be critical to the point of tearing you down, because Virgo energy can be critical. But if they're being critical to the end of helping you to be your best you, then it is positive. If they're being critical to no particular end other than to just tear you down, then they're being negative. Okay. All right. So I hope that helps you. That's a very challenging placement. Any of the back end houses are challenging, as particularly challenging, can be particularly challenging placements, especially houses 11 and 12. But hopefully that helps. Does anybody else want to say what their yes, in my 40s, it's all about the bounce? Perfect. You're very welcome. You're very welcome, Red Jewel. And you are one Red Jewel if you're Capricorn, Sun, and a Cancer Moon. All right, all right, all right. Ain't a whole lot of us out there. All right. So yeah, and I'm feeling myself a little bit. But anyway, pardon me. Is there anybody else? Is there another? I wanted to help up to 4 people. Is there anybody else that knows their Saturn sign and what house is in and their houses, the house system, whatever? While you guys are working on that, it's 2:20. I'm 2 hours and 25 minutes in. I'm going to go ahead and it looks like I've got 4 names here for the drawing. So let me make sure I got Jean, Anye, Toro Girl, and Hotshot. Oh, and Prairie. I got Prairie too. Let me put that in there. Prairie for the book. Okay, let me see. Let me make sure I didn't miss anybody. Got Toro Girl. Got Hotshot. She was the first one. Okay, you're very welcome, by the way, Red Jewel. Okay, and I got Red Jewel. Okay. Jewel. Okay. Number 6. Okay, let me see. All right, I think that's it. I would love to help somebody else that knows theirs, but you know what? Anybody watching this video on demand, you know what? I think what I want to do is maybe I'll give you guys some time to sort of click the birth chart calculator. Not everybody knows their time that they're born. I've talked to a lot of people who don't know what time they were born, and they have to go and research that to figure it out. But maybe I'll come back and this might be a good impetus for me to start doing maybe once a month, just doing a live where I'm helping people with, their whatever their astrology is or their personal numerology to help you better identify yourself and help you enhance your life. So we grow together, we learn together. Okay. So doesn't look like I'm going to have anybody else that wants any help. Rare Jewel, thank you for volunteering, and thank you again for letting me know that what I said made sense and that it helped. Okay, so now let me bring up my randomizer app, and we're going to choose a winner. And let me see. Random. Do I still have that on here? Pretty random. Is that it? No. Okay. Randomize. Minimum. Okay. All right. Looks like I got it. And I have how many people here? Got 6 names. All right. I'm going to run down these 6 names one more time. I got Hotshot, Tora Girl, Anye, Jean, Prairie, and Rare Jewel for the book giveaway. So I got 6 names. She said that would be nice. I want to learn about the North and South Node as well. Duly noted. Duly noted. Now, Rare Jewel, I do have some videos. If you go to my astrology playlist in my just go to my YouTube profile and go to my astrology playlist. I got some great videos in there on the North Node and South Node. So if you haven't seen them already, be sure you take a look at those videos. And then if you've got more questions, pop them in the underneath the comments of that video. I will see those comments when they pop up. I'll get a notification, and then I can answer your questions there. And if it seems like I need to do another one on the North Node, in fact, you know what? I will do one on the North Node because your North Node and your Saturn can work together. Your North Node and your Saturn can work together. So I'll do one. I'll come back and do another video. That's a great idea. That's a great idea. Let me make a note to do that. Give me 1 second. Let's write this down. 1 second, and I'll do that drawing. Maddie's wrap. Let's do a new notes. Let's do a video on the interplay between Saturn and North Node. Because they actually kind of do work together a little bit. Not another topic that a lot of people touch on. They tend to separate them. But if your Saturn sign and your North Node sign are, if they were square or if they were a harsh aspect, your North Node can be a challenge, or your North Node can challenge your Saturn, or your Saturn can challenge your North Node. So I actually thought about that today. So I'm glad you brought it up because it reminds me. I just didn't want to cover it in this video. So thank you again, Red Jewel. Now on to the drawing. Let me unplug this. All right. That top number is minimum is 1. And maximum is 6. Okay. 6. Okay. All right. I'm going to put this on the screen here. Hopefully you guys can see it. All right. This is my randomizer app. Minimum is 1. Max is 6. Okay. Let me call these by the number so you guys know who's who. All right. Let me erase this off of here. 11th Saturn 2, but it's in Aquarius. House cusp is Capricorn. I work in the nonprofit sector, Prairie. So you're saying that your Saturn is in Aquarius in the 11th house, and what you have in the 11th house cusp is Capricorn. Very interesting. Okay. All right. So let me write that down. I'll write that down. Let me do this giveaway really quick, and then I'll come back to that, and then we'll wrap up. Okay. All right. So I've got number 1. I've got Hot Shot is 1, Tour Girl as 2, Anye as 3, Jean as 4, Prairie is 5, and Red Jewel as 6. All right. So I'm gonna random. Here we go. 1 is the minimum, and 6 is the max. All right. Let's hit the randomize, and the number's 1. So congratulations to Miss Hotshot. Congratulations. You win the book, Hotshot. Go ahead and email me. I put my email address in the chat. Email me your mailing address, and I'll get that book shipped out to you. Autographed copy from Fear to Faith, A Survivor Story. Actually, this is the first edition. This is not the second edition, but you're going to get a copy of the second edition. This is the first edition. It has finalists on it. The second edition has a winner on it. All right. So anyway, congratulations, Hot Shot. Let's give Miss Hot Shot a round of applause. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for showing up. All right. Now, where was I? Oh yeah, Prairie. Okay, so your Saturn is in the 11th house, but it's in Aquarius. That's the home. That's the home sign for Aquarius. So that's a good sign. That is a good sign. And then what you have in that, what you have on the 11th house cusp is Capricorn. You work in the nonprofit sector. Okay, so again, like one Rare Jewel, you're restricted in your ability to help others. You're restricted in your ability to help others. But what that help and what that distraction is going to look like is going to look like Capricorn energy. It's going to look like Capricorn energy. The difference based on what we went over tonight is the help is going to be somebody that wants to perhaps help you do heavy lifting. Any of your Capricorns, I did a whole video on how the signs help us. I did Capricorn. Capricorns are the Sherpas. Sherpa meaning the people, the assistants that help people climb to the top of Mount Everest. Capricorns are the Sherpas in your life. Capricorns are here to kind of help people through difficult challenges. Why? Because nobody's had it more challenging than the Capricorn. Capricorn sun, Capricorn moon, Capricorn rising. And I don't say that to boast, because who wants to go through something as challenging as a lot of Capricorns go through? Capricorn sun, moon, and rising. Okay. But if you've got a Capricorn who is sitting in, if Capricorn is a sign that's sitting in that 11th house, on that 11th house cusp, then the distraction is going to look like Capricorn energy, but so is the help. So what does that mean? That the difference is that Capricorn that is a distraction may come across as somebody that looks like they want to help you in what you're doing, but then they're trying to step over you to make themselves appear like the hero in this nonprofit. Okay. you've got the vision as with your Saturn being in Aquarius. What do you have to use? You have to be rebellious. The energy that you need to use to illustrate the lessons that come in the area of the 11th house is natural. You're native. You almost have an advantage by having that Saturn in the 11th house. Saturn in Aquarius in the 11th house. You almost have a little bit of an advantage. Remember, Saturn is going to restrict you from helping others the way that you want to. But with that energy being your Saturn sign being Aquarius, you have to be a little bit more assertive about being rebellious and bucking against systems that are in place that do not work. That's one thing about Aquarians. Aquarians have the vision on how to help people, how to be the most helpful to people. Okay. What needs to happen so that humanity, or what needs to happen so that the greater good can be served, right? That's about to happen in the world right now because Pluto has entered the sign of Aquarius. So that's auspicious in a way. It's very auspicious in a way. So what you're going to have to do, you're going to have to be bold. Uranus energy, Uranus is the planet of rebellion. It's the revolutionary. You're going to have to use the energy of the revolutionary to assist in that area of that nonprofit. Okay. If that's where you've been placed to help others, that's what you're going to have to do. Okay. But understand that your temptation is going to come in the form of Capricorn, meaning somebody's going to come along that wants to help you, but so is the help. The help is going to look like somebody that wants to help you. The distraction is going to look like somebody that wants to help you. Pay attention, because one of them is going to be faster moving energy that is self-serving. The other one is going to be slower moving energy that is there to help you and make sure that you get everything that you need to further your mission. That's all Capricorns want to do. The thing I love about the earth signs, especially Capricorn and Virgo, is they are literally here to help. They are literally here to help. So she said, wow, I've been thinking about advocacy lately. Okay. Just know what that temptation or that enemy is going to look like. Your whole purpose for your Saturn is the advancement of your soul. The advancement. And remember, the reward is the same cookie jar. So guess what? When you exercise the Aquarian energy and you're able to resist the devil and make them flee, discernment, exactly. Then guess what? You are going to be freed up to help others, to help serve others, to help humanity in the way that you want to. In the way that you want to. So that's very beautiful energy. I love that for you, Prairie. Just be sure to pay attention, because the distraction, anything that's coming to detract you and knock you off of your and guess what? Who's to say that the Capricorn energy that showed up to help you isn't sitting right here in this live right now? God moves in mysterious ways. Okay, I didn't know I was going to be doing this video tonight before I started taking. I didn't know this last night. This time last night, I wouldn't have told you I was doing this video. I had something else in mind to do for the live stream on Sunday. I kind of had something else in mind to do. So, well, actually, I take that back, because I think I left that. I put that. I put that note in Saturday night. So actually, it was Friday. Friday, I didn't know that I was going to be doing this. Let me backtrack a little bit. Friday, this weekend, for my weekend live, I originally had no intention of doing this, but it came to me yesterday to do this today, and I got even more downloaded information this at around 4:35 a.m. this morning. There's these notes that I took. So who's to say that one of those Capricorn energies, there could be one, it could be more, one of those Capricorn energies that showed up to be the help isn't sitting right here looking at you and talking to you on this camera. Okay. But also know that the distraction and the help tend to come in a similar looking package. But one of them is truly there to help you get to where you're trying to go. The other one is there to serve themselves of you and knock you off your path. All right. So pay attention and use that discernment. I hope that helps. So family, listen, this has been a long video. It's 2 hours and 39 minutes. This is a good time to wrap it up. It feels long, but it doesn't feel long, because I feel like this is a class almost that could help somebody, y'all. So my goal for this video was to get you guys to be able to identify where your biggest challenge is. All right. This is the North Node in Aries. This is about war. I keep telling people that. People are like, oh, let's pray for peace. Yeah, you should pray for peace. But if it's war season, war is going to happen. So it is better to align with the energy than fighting with it. Use this war energy, use this North Node and Aries energy to overcome obstacles in your life, to defeat enemies in your life, to defeat enemies in your life. That's how we're supposed to be working with these energies. Okay. Oh, thank you, Prairie. Thank you. Wow. Don't do that to me. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. I'm a Cancer moon. Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Jeez. Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. I really do. I'm humbled. I'm humbled. Thank you for saying that. I'm so humbled by that comment. Thank you. Yeah. So listen, align with the energy, of the current North Node. And Rare Jewel, if you're still on here, when I do that, if come back and do that North Node energy or that North Node video, I talk about natal North Node, but I don't really talk about the transit of the North Node. Like, where's the North Node today? Because that's very important in our lives. The transits are the day-to-day energies, and how do they work with our natal energy. That is where we're going to have our smoothness versus our conflicts. If you're on a sea sailing, sometimes the oceans are going to be calm, sometimes they're going to be bumpy, but you got to get through it to get to your destination. So so align yourself with this energy, this North Node and Aries energy, and go to war against any energetic enemy that has been hampering you and keeping you from what it is that you came here to accomplish. Okay. But do it in a high vibrational way. And the best way to do it is to look at your Saturn sign and understand the energy that you're supposed to be employing to illustrate your karmic lesson so that you can get those cookies. Okay. Or whatever it is that you want. But it's in a fat boy. It's that Cancer moon, Red Jewel, you got a Cancer moon. You got a heart for all things Cancer. So you probably like cooking like I do. You probably enjoy good food. You probably like taking care of people just like I do. So anyway, I love you guys. Listen, if you like this video and you haven't done so already, please give it a thumbs up. And if you are new to my channel and you like being educated, entertained, uplifted, inspired, hit that subscribe button. Okay. I'm your guy for that. Hit that subscribe button and be sure you turn that notification bell on so that you'll be notified when I drop new content. And understand that I've had a number of you guys telling me that you're finding that you're not receiving notifications. And when I ask people to look, they'll show me that they've been unsubscribed. So you guys make sure, it seems like a while's going by and you're not hearing anything from me, please make sure that you check your subscription status and make sure that you're still subscribed to the channel, because some weird stuff be happening on these platforms with people that have truth channels, people that drop truth, people that drop high vibe content. Okay. Weird stuff happens where they get unsubscribed and you see your subscription numbers going down. You're like, oh, I guess they don't like me anymore. It ain't you. It ain't you. It's the system. It's the Matrix. Okay. If you've seen the movie series, The Matrix, it's the Sentinels. Okay. So y'all make sure that you are subscribed and make sure your notification bell is set to all so you'll be notified when I drop new content. All right. Last but not least, y'all know how I do it. Tell somebody you love them and mean it. How do you mean it? You have to show it. Love is a verb. Okay. It's a noun as well. But when we focus on the verb, the action of love, the noun form, which is the state of being, that always takes care of itself. It's built in. When you show love, there'll be love. Okay. All right. So many people are looking for love, but they're sitting on their hands. You want love, you got to show love. If you show love, there'll be love. The love energy is released in the atmosphere. When you're showing love and you're releasing love, when you're operating in the verb form of love, you attract love. You attract, when you're high vibrational, you attract things that are high vibrational. Okay. So operate in that love frequency, y'all, and you'll get the love back that you're putting out. I promise you that's how it works. You can't fail with it. That's how it works. So I love you guys, man. Y'all have a great rest of your evening. And if you haven't seen it already, check out that Super Bowl video that I did. Or don't. I mean, it was more information, more learning. Y'all know if I can't teach you something on here, then I'm at least entertain you. And I didn't give y'all money's worth with the singing tonight. So I'll make that up to y'all. But I'm kind of losing my voice a little bit. So I'm gonna get off of here. Y'all have a great night. I love you guys. Peace.